I mistakenly brought home the cancer diagnosis document used for acting in the film. My always indifferent contract wife, Olivia, asked me at dinner how many months I had left. Thinking she was referring to our 5-year marriage contract, I replied that there was still over a month left. She fell silent. Later, I quietly went abroad for further studies. Half a year after I returned, I heard from friends that Olivia had gone crazy looking for her supposedly deceased husband. She said she wanted to see the person alive, and the corpse if dead, even if she had to dig 3 feet into the ground to find him. President Olivia, dinner is ready, you can eat now. But Olivia was still immersed in that cancer diagnosis document, unaware that it was just a prop I used for filming. Olivia snapped back to reality. On the dining table were 3 dishes and a soup, all Olivia's usual favorites. But she had no appetite tonight. After taking a few bites with her chopsticks, she looked up at me and asked, "How much longer do you have?" I was slightly stunned, and after a moment, I realized she was probably asking about the 5-year contract. Just over a month. I had been mentally prepared for this day for a long time. After all, when we got married, Olivia's secretary had seriously warned me. The reason Olivia chose to marry me was not only because her family was pressuring her to marry, but more importantly, my appearance bore a 3/10 resemblance to her white moonlight who had gone abroad for further studies 5 years ago. In other words, I was just a substitute after her white moonlight left. Olivia's white moonlight was about to return home. Her suddenly asking about the contract was probably to make room for him. After I finished speaking, I inadvertently noticed Olivia's brows furrow slightly. I sighed helplessly in my heart and added, "Please rest assured, President Olivia. When the time comes, I will leave on my own and will never cause you any trouble." Actually, I could understand. After all, it was the white moonlight she had been longing for 5 years. She wouldn't want him to see another man by her side. That was understandable. Over the years, Olivia had been quite good to me. Perhaps I shouldn't make things so difficult for her. Tell you what, President Olivia, I'll move out as soon as possible. But houses in this city are hard to find. Could you give me 3 days? After 3 days, I guarantee I'll move out immediately. Do you want to move out that badly? I didn't know why, but this sentence somehow provoked Olivia. I could clearly see a hint of irritation on her face. I didn't understand what she meant by that. Olivia stood up with a gloomy expression and said, "I didn't tell you to move out, so you just stay here obediently." After saying that, she walked straight back to the study. I stared blankly at her retreating figure, unable to figure out what had just happened. Olivia usually didn't take the initiative to talk to me. If she spoke, it was definitely about something important. Today, she took the initiative to ask about the contract, clearly wanting to resolve this matter as soon as possible. And I had already offered to leave. Logically speaking, she should have been very happy about that. Why did she seem irritated instead? After thinking about it carefully, I figured it out. No matter what, she was a billionaire female president. She still valued the spirit of the contract. She was probably too embarrassed to let me go before the contract ended, and wanted to fulfill the remaining month according to the agreement. She had always been like this. Over the years, although she treated me coldly, she had never once broken her word. But since she valued the contract, I couldn't be ungrateful. I still needed to find a place and move out as soon as possible. After finishing the meal and cleaning up the housework, I took a folder from the coffee table and went back to the bedroom. This drama was going to start filming in 3 days. I needed to get familiar with it quickly. The moment I opened the folder, I was stunned. I had brought this diagnosis document back with me. This diagnosis document was a prop for my character. Wendy must have accidentally included it when she was gathering the scripts. After dinner, I sat at my desk and seriously studied the script. I had always been a very serious person. No matter what I did, I would put in 100% effort. This time, Emily had arranged a role for me that was only a male 5th lead in a low-budget web drama, but I still devoted my fullest enthusiasm to understanding the character's personality. Time quickly passed to 9 o'clock. I looked at my watch and got up to go to the kitchen. Olivia was a workaholic. Especially in recent years, after she had just taken over the family company. She was so busy every day that she often forgot to eat. Over time, she developed a serious stomach condition. After I found out about this, I spent a great deal of effort consulting many well-known Chinese medicine practitioners, bought a large number of medical books to study, and formulated a medicinal porridge. Strangely enough, after Olivia started eating this medicinal porridge, her symptoms improved significantly. So I made her a bowl of medicinal porridge every night. Even when Olivia was often not at home and stayed at the company for long periods, I still delivered it to her for 5 years without fail. In terms of employee self-cultivation, I felt I was quite qualified. The fragrant medicinal porridge was soon ready. I filled a large bowl and walked to the study door. Just as I reached the door, I heard Olivia's voice faintly coming from inside, seemingly on the phone. Her voice was extremely gentle. It was hard to imagine that the usually aloof Olivia could have such a tender side. Are you coming back early? Okay. I'll pick you up at the airport then. I've already told you, he and I are just in a contract marriage. In these 3 years, I haven't even let him touch my finger. The contract will end in 2 months. I'll make it clear to him then. I waited for a while until she hung up, then knocked on the door. Olivia opened the door. President Olivia, I just made the medicinal porridge. Drink it while it's hot. I won't disturb you. After putting down the porridge, I was about to leave. Do you have any wishes? Olivia suddenly asked. I was startled, then showed a warm smile. I knew Olivia had always been a kind-hearted woman. After taking over the family group, she had donated dozens of Hope schools and was a well-known philanthropist in the city. Maybe she realized the contract was about to end and wanted to compensate me. Thank you, President Olivia. I shook my head gently. 5 years ago, you paid me $5 million upfront. Over the years, you've also given me many gifts. That's already more than enough. I don't have any wishes for now. But still, thank you. Olivia fell silent and didn't speak again. Just as I was about to leave, she spoke again. I know an internal medicine specialist who is renowned both domestically and internationally, especially skilled in treating lung diseases. I've already called and contacted him. In a while, I'll send you his contact information. You can go see him. Hearing this, my heart felt a little warm. 5 years ago, the orphanage I lived in suddenly caught fire. The director, George, risked his life multiple times to save the children, rushing into the flames. Not only did he suffer extensive burns, but he also inhaled a large amount of smoke, leading to severe lung disease. The reason I had accepted this contract back then was to raise money for Grandpa George's treatment and to rebuild the orphanage. I had never told Olivia about this. I thought Olivia wouldn't care about such things. Seemed I was wrong. She must have found out about it quietly behind the scenes. Thank you, President Olivia. I expressed my gratitude. The next day, I got up early and made a hearty breakfast. While waiting for Olivia to get up, I stood in the living room practicing my lines. At 8:20, Olivia came out of her room fully dressed. I had to admit, this woman was breathtakingly beautiful. Any outfit she wore had a unique charm about her. Breakfast is on the table. I heated the milk in the microwave. There are several options. Eat whichever you like. Olivia nodded slightly, sat down at the dining table, and ate her breakfast in small, elegant bites. She truly was a wealthy heiress, having received elite education since childhood. Every move she made exuded intellect and grace, a delight to the eyes. Olivia preferred quiet, so I didn't want to practice my lines in front of her. I was about to go back to my room when she called out to me. Oh, I made an appointment with Dr. Johnson for you last night. He happens to be at Manhwa Hospital for an exchange today. You can just call him when you get there. I nodded and thanked her. Olivia lowered her head and silently continued eating her breakfast. I went back to my room and did a simple styling for myself. Not long after, I heard the sound of the door closing outside. It must have been Olivia leaving for work. After I was ready, I went out to take a taxi to the hospital. Just as I took out my phone, a white Porsche stopped in front of me. The window rolled down, revealing Olivia's delicate face. Get in, I'll take you there. I was stunned. I knew what this car meant to Olivia. This car was the least conspicuous among Olivia's fleet of luxury cars. But it was a birthday gift from her white Moonlight. Olivia treasured this car immensely. She didn't care about multi-million-dollar sports cars. But this one she maintained with meticulous care, unwilling to let it suffer the slightest damage. She never let any man sit in this car, including me. No need, President Olivia. I'll just take a taxi. I can't afford to scratch or dirty this car. Olivia's brows immediately furrowed. Get in. I opened my mouth, but under her increasingly cold gaze, I finally said thank you and obediently got in. The inside of the car was eerily quiet. But then, Olivia suddenly broke the silence. Her words startled me. When were you diagnosed? Olivia suddenly broke the silence. I thought she was asking about Grandpa George, so I answered, 2 years ago. Her brows furrowed slightly. Why didn't you tell me earlier? I was full of confusion. She seemed to be talking more today than usual. In the past, she wouldn't say this much in a whole year. But thinking she meant well, I said, President Olivia, you're very busy with work. I didn't want to bother you with these things. Her voice carried a hint of anger. Even if it's a contract marriage, legally we are still husband and wife. You shouldn't have kept this from me. She sighed again. If you need anything, you can call me anytime. Half an hour later, the car stopped at the entrance of Yongda Hospital. I have a morning meeting, so I won't go in with you. Cooperate with the doctors and get proper treatment. If you need money, just call me. I sincerely expressed my gratitude. Olivia glanced at me and drove away. I went inside and walked to the third hospital bed. Lying on the bed was an elderly man in his 60s. His face was severely disfigured by burns. Although he had undergone multiple plastic surgeries, it still looked very gruesome. The old man's spirits were quite good. When he saw me, he grinned. "Leon, didn't I tell you? Work is important. You don't need to come see me every day." This old man. "Grandpa, I found a lung specialist for you. He's at the hospital for an exchange today. Later, I'll ask him to come see you." I sat by the bed, peeling an apple for him. Halfway through peeling, a group of doctors in white coats entered the room. The lead was a tall female doctor. Although she wore a mask, her striking beauty was still visible from her eyes. This was Sophia, a genius female doctor at Yongda Hospital, and also Grandpa George's primary physician. "Leon, you're here early today, Dr. Sophia." I quickly stood up to greet her. Over the past 10 years, thanks to Sophia's care, I was very grateful to this kind female doctor. Sophia called me aside and asked, "Leon, have you been short on money lately? Grandpa George's treatment fees have run out." "If you're short," I immediately understood her meaning. I had indeed been very short on money recently. The 5 million Olivia had given me back then was long gone. Over the past 2 years, I had earned some myself, all of which went into treatment costs and the orphanage. I had also considered asking Olivia for a loan, but she didn't owe me anything. On the contrary, she had been very kind to me over the years. I really couldn't bring myself to ask. "Thank you, Dr. Sophia. I'll figure out a way to cover the treatment costs." I declined her offer. Sophia had already helped me far too much over the years. I didn't want to owe her any more favors. Sophia sighed softly. Having known me for 10 years, she knew my temperament well. I seemed gentle and obedient on the outside, but I was actually more stubborn than anyone. "All right then, if you ever need help, just let me know. Unless you don't consider me a friend. Of course you're my only friend. If I need anything, I'll definitely come to you first." "My only friend, huh?" Sophia's cheeks, hidden behind her mask, flushed slightly. She looked up and glanced at me, her heart pounding faster. "People are long gone and you're still staring. Careful, your eyes might fall out." A fair hand landed on Sophia's shoulder. Sophia turned around in surprise and saw her best friend Wendy's teasing face. "What are you talking about?" Sophia shot her a glare. "Others might not know, but I do. Every time you look at him, your eyes are practically glued to him," Wendy said mercilessly. Sophia's pretty face flushed even redder. "Can you just shut up? We just have a normal doctor-patient relationship. It's nothing like what you're saying. Do you even believe that yourself? You've taken care of that old man George for 10 years as if he were your own grandfather. I've never seen a doctor take care of a patient to this extent. Or are you just imagining yourself as his granddaughter-in-law? Seriously, Sophia, if you really like him, go for it. These days, it's not just men who do the chasing. That little guy is really a good person. Super handsome, gentle, and considerate. And with his orphanage, everyone else just visits with gifts. But he's the only one who's taken care of them for 10 years straight," Wendy said seriously. "In today's world, someone with such a good heart is truly rare. Even if he doesn't have money, you have plenty at home." Sophia's eyes showed a hint of confusion. She still clearly remembered that day 10 years ago when I knelt before her with tearful eyes, begging her to save George. At the time, many people came to the orphanage, but everyone else was worried about whether their belongings had been burned in the fire. Maybe some were also concerned about George's safety, but only I was completely focused on his well-being. After that, she saw me by George's bedside every single day without fail. As the saying goes, there are no filial children by a long-term sickbed, but Sophia never saw a trace of impatience on my face. Perhaps it was this sincerity that moved her. She devoted more of her energy to caring for George, and over time, she and I became familiar. What truly brought us closer was an incident a year ago involving a medical dispute. At the time, the patient's family brought 7 or 8 people. The patient had been brought to the hospital but couldn't be saved. The family stubbornly blamed the hospital and the attending physician, demanding exorbitant compensation. When negotiations failed, these ruthless people cornered Sophia, the attending physician, in the parking lot. Some even brandished knives, ready to attack. At the critical moment, it was I who took the fatal blow for her. I ended up in the hospital for a full month before recovering. Sophia snapped out of her reverie and said with a bitter smile, "Don't say things like that. He's already married." Wendy was taken aback. "Really? But I've never seen his wife visit in all these years." "His wife is usually busy with work. That's such a pity. Such a good young man is so rare. I wonder which woman is so lucky to have his care. She must be really happy." Wendy felt a deep regret. She had even thought that if Sophia wasn't interested, she might go for it herself. Who knew he was already married? Sophia's heart was also full of bitterness. Through the hospital room door, She saw me chatting and laughing with George, and felt a wave of disappointment. A day passed quietly. Because Olivia had called ahead to make the appointment, Dr. Johnson's consultation went very smoothly. After the examination, Dr. Johnson clearly told me that Grandpa George's illness could be cured, but it would require a significant amount of money for surgery. Hearing this good news put me in a great mood for the rest of the day. When I got home, Olivia still wasn't back. This was normal. She was away most of the year, and besides being busy with work, she often slept at the company. I also knew that Olivia was trying to avoid contact with me as much as possible. She really loved her white moonlight and had remained chaste for him all these years. Apart from necessary business interactions, she never got too close to any man, including me, her nominal husband. At 9 p.m., I prepared the medicinal porridge and took a taxi to Olivia's company. The Olivia Group building, a massive 80-story commercial skyscraper. The lobby was magnificent, like a palace, and I couldn't help but marvel at the Olivia Group's immense wealth. Especially since Olivia took over, the company had become even more prosperous and vibrant. Standing there, I felt so small and insignificant. A sense of inferiority crept over me involuntarily. Usually at home, I didn't feel this way when facing Olivia, but standing under her company's building, I truly realized just how vast the gap between us was. Give me the insulated container. Secretary Brian walked out of the elevator in high heels and extended a slender, fair hand. Thank you for your trouble. I handed over the container and was about to leave when Brian suddenly said, Tyler's return date has been moved up. He might be back tomorrow afternoon. Tyler was the white moonlight Olivia had been longing for 3 years. To avoid misunderstandings, it's better to move out of the president's house sooner rather than later. I nodded. I'm already looking for a place. Brian was slightly taken aback and couldn't help but give me a few more glances. Although he knew Olivia and I were in a contract marriage, he didn't know that my real motive was to raise money for George's surgery and the orphanage's reconstruction. He just saw me as a kept man living off a rich woman, so he always looked down on me and never gave me a good word. He had expected me to put up a fight, but to his surprise, I had already started looking for a place without him even asking. This was good. It saved him the trouble of saying more. It's best that you think that way. You should also know that President Olivia has always loved Tyler. That has never changed over the years. In fact, her feelings for him have only grown stronger. Although what I'm saying might sound harsh, I still want to remind you, don't think about things you shouldn't. A toad can never eat swan meat. I think you should be aware of that. After you leave, I hope you won't disturb President Olivia anymore. It will only cause trouble in her life. You know, President Olivia has always been a very kind person. Some things she can't say herself, so I have to say them for her. I clenched my fists tightly, feeling a bit resentful, but after a moment, I slowly relaxed them and nodded. What right did I have to be angry? This was just a transaction after all. Please tell President Olivia that I have always known my place and have never dared to have any improper thoughts. I will move out as soon as possible. With that, I quickened my pace and left. Brian stood there, staring at my departing figure, feeling a little guilty. Perhaps what he said just now was a bit too harsh. He, Olivia, and Tyler were college classmates and good friends. He had witnessed their sweet romance firsthand, so he was especially repulsed by me, the kept man. What he said was entirely on his own initiative, with the intention of making me back off. Now it seemed this guy was quite sensible. This was the best outcome for himself, for Olivia, and for Tyler. On the way back, I realized I needed to pack my things and get out quickly, so I went and bought a large suitcase and started packing. By the time I had packed everything, it was already noon. I wasn't in a hurry to leave. No matter what, I should at least say goodbye to Olivia. I waited until after 6 p.m., but she still hadn't come back. I didn't know if she would return tonight. After thinking it over, I took out my phone and sent her a message. Are you coming back tonight? After a long time, Olivia replied with just 2 words, busy. I didn't think much of it and continued, I've packed all my things. I can move out tonight. I wanted to say goodbye in person. If you're busy, I'll just say it over WeChat. I've left the keys and the medicinal porridge recipe on the dining table. I won't be sending you porridge anymore. I'm free for the next couple of days. If you need to get the divorce certificate, just let me know anytime. I didn't expect her to reply. I put down my phone, gave the house a final cleaning, and then dragged my suitcase downstairs. Looking back at the house I had lived in for nearly 10 years, I felt a pang of melancholy. After all, it was a place I'd lived for so long. There was some attachment. This time, leaving, I would probably never come back again. After a moment's thought, I opened the door and stepped outside. The moment I opened the door, I froze. In front of me was a face that was terrifyingly grim. My voice caught in my throat. I wanted to say something but couldn't. After all these years of living together, This was the first time I had seen Olivia with such an expression. She was always elegant and aloof, like a celestial being untouched by the mundane world. No matter how angry she got, she had never shown such an unpleasant expression. It made me a little flustered. Had I done something wrong? I thought back carefully. It seemed like everything I did was according to her wishes. She wanted me to move out, so I moved out immediately. But why was she angry? Could it be that leaving without saying goodbye in person was disrespectful to her? No matter what, she was the boss, and an employee leaving without a word seemed a bit inappropriate. A flicker of embarrassment crossed my face. I'm sorry, President Olivia. I should have said goodbye in person before leaving. I apologize. I didn't know why Olivia had suddenly come back, but maybe she was worried that I might have taken something from the villa. After all, there were many valuable items inside, especially some gifts from Tyler. I had seen how much Olivia treasured those gifts. For example, she had bought an exquisite gift box worth several 100,000 yuan for a watch worth only tens of thousands, and placed it on the most prominent spot in her study. There were also paintings, calligraphy, antiques, and other items worth millions. These things had never been hidden from me. Now that I was leaving, her concern was understandable. So I quickly said, President Olivia, I only took my clothes and personal belongings. You can check my suitcase, or I can wait until you've inventoried your valuables before I leave. Do you really see me as that kind of person? Olivia suddenly asked. I froze and silently scolded myself for being careless. Even if I thought it, I shouldn't have said it out loud. Saying that would only make her seem petty and calculating. So I quickly tried to make amends. President Olivia, that's not what I meant. I meant to say, I'll go back and... Before I could finish, Olivia coldly interrupted. Shut up. With that, she walked inside. Watching her stride ahead, I felt a momentary daze. Olivia usually walked with an elegant grace, as if each step was a poetic dance, a pleasure to behold. But right now, she seemed almost sulky, taking unusually large strides. Feeling both confused and helpless, I dragged my suitcase and followed her inside. To my surprise, as soon as I entered, she sat down on the sofa in the living room and crossed her arms, staring at me with an icy glare. I thought she probably wanted me to go back to my room first so she could check her belongings. After all, in this public setting, she, the beautiful female president, wouldn't want to lose face. It was better to prioritize her dignity. Once inside the house, I proactively opened my suitcase. 10 years ago, when I first arrived at this house, I had nothing but a few cheap changes of clothes. Now, the clothes in the suitcase were all purchased later and were quite expensive. It wasn't that I was extravagant. As Olivia's nominal husband, if I dressed too poorly, it would reflect badly on her image. Besides, I was an actor. I had to maintain a certain standard. In the entertainment industry, I had always been one to present myself well. Apart from clothes, the suitcase contained some acting books, a laptop, and 2 watches Olivia had given me. These 2 watches were quite valuable. The cheapest one was worth over 100,000 yuan. They were birthday gifts from Olivia over the past 2 years. There wasn't much else. She didn't look at the suitcase. Her gaze was fixed on me, smoldering with barely concealed anger. I felt very uncomfortable. Being stared at by such a powerful female president was honestly quite unnerving. Could she think I had secretly hidden some of her luxury items? I couldn't blame her for thinking that way. After all, I was poor. Faced with such expensive luxuries, who could resist temptation? President Olivia, would you like to check first? Leon, do you find this amusing? Ha! I looked up and met her fiery gaze. Take your things back to your room, she said sharply, then strode to the study and slammed the door shut. What did she mean by that? I couldn't figure it out. Was she telling me to put my luggage back in my room? Did she want to inventory her valuables before letting me leave? Olivia was a titan in the business world, a renowned genius businesswoman in the industry. But in daily life, she was a bit scatterbrained and often forgot where she put things. With so many luxury items, she probably forgot where many of them were. It would take her some time to check everything. I was torn, unsure whether to stay or go. Finally, after some thought, I sighed, hung my head, and dragged my suitcase back to my room. I guess I'd wait for her to finish checking. If something really was missing and she blamed me, I could end up in legal trouble. That night, I didn't cook. I didn't ask her if she had eaten either. My mood was very restless. Tomorrow afternoon, Tyler would be back. Olivia might even bring him home. Although I didn't have any romantic feelings for Olivia, watching them flaunt their affection, maybe even doing something inappropriate right in front of me, would be torture. Was I destined to suffer this torment? Well, I'd taken her money, so what was a little suffering? I tossed and turned in bed, not knowing when I finally fell asleep. The next day, I slept in for the first time in a long while. When I woke up, it was already past 9. Olivia wasn't home. I didn't know what to do with myself. I also didn't know if Olivia had finished checking her belongings last night. I wanted to call and ask, but I couldn't muster the courage. I remembered how angry she was when I brought it up last night. Maybe tonight, when she brought Tyler home, I could find an excuse to go to a hotel and leave them alone. I spent the whole day studying the script at home. By early evening, around 5 o'clock, my mind started to wander. Tyler should be back by now, right? Olivia had missed him for so many years. She must be really happy right now. What were they doing at this moment? Thinking about it, I felt a little dazed. Sometimes I really felt inferior, especially when compared to someone like Tyler. He came from a good family, was handsome, a big star, and had a great personality. He was excellent in every way. In contrast, I was just an orphan with no parents, a no-name actor playing minor roles. I was completely outclassed in every aspect. It was no wonder a woman like Olivia, a beautiful female CEO, was so devoted to him. I didn't think I loved Olivia, but at that moment, I couldn't help feeling a bit envious of Tyler. I picked up my phone and suddenly saw that Brian had posted a picture on his moments. It was a photo of Tyler and Olivia having dinner together at a restaurant. I had to admit, Tyler was really handsome. Even from a male perspective, I thought he was flawless. Sitting next to Olivia, they looked like a perfect golden couple. The caption read, "After all the twists and turns, it's still you. This couple, I'll ship them for 100 years. I tried to control myself, but I couldn't help looking at the photo again and again. In the photo, Olivia had a smile on her face. It was a gentle smile I had never seen before, so she did know how to smile. She just only smiled for the person she loved. As for me, I was just her employee. I never deserved her smile. After all, I was just a stand-in. I put down my phone, my mood complicated. I couldn't be bothered to cook, so I ordered takeout for the first time in a while. Olivia probably wouldn't be coming back tonight, right? She was a very prideful person. Thinking about it, with me, a third wheel, still in the house, she probably wouldn't bring him home. If they wanted to rekindle their romance, they'd probably get a hotel room. I was eating my takeout with great enthusiasm when suddenly, there was a knock at the door. I was confused. The takeout had already arrived. Who could be knocking at this hour? The property management? I walked to the door and opened it. To my shock, it was Olivia. Why was she back? Shouldn't she be at a hotel with Tyler, catching up? I looked past her. She was alone. Tyler wasn't with her. What are you looking at? She frowned. Nothing. Why are you back? I asked instinctively. Olivia said angrily, "This is my home. Shouldn't I be here?" "That's not what I meant. Your white moonlight is back today. You two must have so much to say to each other. Shouldn't you be at a hotel right now, enjoying each other's company?" I didn't dare say these things out loud. Instead, I smiled and let her inside. I guessed that Olivia was a proud woman and also quite traditional. Her pride wouldn't allow her to give herself away completely on the very first night of their reunion. Actually, I had always known that although everyone knew she was married, many high-quality men still pursued her over the years. But she never gave them the time of day. She never got close to any other man and never had any scandals. Maybe after years of being apart, they were still a bit unfamiliar with each other. Once they got used to each other again, she might finally open her heart. "You didn't cook? You're eating this." She looked at the takeout boxes on the table. "I wasn't in the mood today, so I ordered takeout. Have you eaten? Should I make you something?" I knew she had already had a fancy dinner with Tyler, so she probably wouldn't want me to cook. "Why weren't you in the mood?" She suddenly looked at me. Then her gaze fell on my phone on the table. Earlier, while eating, I had looked at that photo again, and I had zoomed in on it. Olivia saw the photo almost immediately. She frowned. Following her gaze, my face turned bright red. I practically lunged for the phone, hiding it behind my back, stammering, I accidentally opened it. I felt utterly mortified. I wished I could dig a hole and crawl into it. So embarrassing. How could I have forgotten to turn off my phone? I didn't want to live anymore. Olivia gave me a meaningful glance, a slight smile tugging at the corner of her mouth. But I was too busy being embarrassed to notice the fleeting charm on her face. "Eating too much takeout is bad for your health," Olivia said, then walked straight to the study. I let out a huge sigh of relief. It seemed she hadn't thought much of it. Then again, her heart only had room for Tyler. She probably didn't care what I was thinking. I mentally scolded myself for overthinking, quickly finished my dinner, cleaned up the takeout boxes, and took them downstairs to throw away. As I was about to head back, I saw a man with a noble aura walking towards me from a distance. It was her white moonlight, Tyler. Why was he here? I frowned. So that was it. I had wondered why Olivia had come back so early instead of being with her white moonlight. They had already made plans to meet at home. How foolish of me to think Olivia was too reserved to bring him home so soon. I had overthought it. After all, he was the man she deeply loved. She had missed him for so long. How could she bear to be apart from him for even a moment? But right now I was in an incredibly awkward position. Should I go back? Should I quickly slip away and leave them alone, this lovesick couple? Or should I go back and say goodbye to Olivia first? As Tyler drew nearer, I couldn't help but silently admire him. This man was truly handsome. My appearance did bear some resemblance to Tyler's. If we walked down the street, people might mistake us for brothers. No wonder Olivia was willing to pay such a high price for a contract marriage with me. Having a face so similar to his, I felt both grateful and sad. Grateful that because of this face, Olivia had noticed me, and I was able to raise the money to treat Grandpa George. Sad that, because of this face, I had been a stand-in for so many years. You're Leon, right? Just as I was hesitating, Tyler approached me, his eyes scanning me with a mix of mockery and contempt. I looked up and our eyes met. I could see the disdain in his gaze, but I couldn't bring myself to be angry. After all, I was just a stand-in for this man. He had every right to mock me. I had accepted this money, and I had long been prepared for the humiliation that came with it. Mr. Tyler, right? Are you here to see President Olivia? Let me take you up. I quickly put on a smiling face. Olivia was my employer, and this man was her boyfriend, sort of like a half-employer. As a qualified employee, it was my duty to fulfill my responsibilities. Tyler paused for a moment, then said with a playful smile, "Then I'll trouble you." I led Tyler upstairs and immediately went to inform Olivia. I took a deep breath, walked to the study door, and knocked. "What is it?" came Olivia's cool voice from inside. "President Olivia, your boyfriend is here to see you." There was no response from inside. After a moment, Olivia opened the door. She glanced at me first, then frowned and walked to the living room, spotting Tyler on the sofa. "Why are you here?" Olivia smiled lightly and walked over to sit beside him. I was stunned. Wasn't this planned? "Olivia, I heard from Brian that you moved to a new place a few years ago, so I came to see it. The decoration is really nice." "Tyler, this is your first time here. Let me give you a tour." "Sure." They both stood up and began to look around. When they reached my room, Tyler exclaimed with delight, "This is my favorite style. Simple and natural." "Olivia, was this room originally prepared for me? And this Kuhn Bechstein grand piano? I remember I only mentioned once that I liked it, and you actually bought it." "Olivia, you're so good to me." I happened to be bringing over some fruit and heard their conversation. My expression froze. So, the decoration style of this room was based on Tyler's preferences. I actually liked it too simple, understated, and beautiful. Especially the piano. I wasn't from this world. In my previous life, I was also an orphan, raised by a grandfather who collected garbage. I worked hard and got into a 985 music college. So I had a special love for music. After transmigrating, the first time I saw this piano, I fell in love with it instantly. Every day when Olivia was out, I would play it. Unfortunately, one afternoon, Olivia came home early to get a file and caught me playing. I still remembered the dark, stormy look on her face. Her voice was sharp with anger. "Who told you to touch this piano? Don't you ever touch it again without my permission." At the time, I thought she was afraid I would damage this expensive instrument. I apologized profusely and promised never to touch it again. Only now did I understand. This piano was bought for her white moonlight. It belonged to him alone. I sat on the sofa in a daze for a while. Olivia and Tyler came back. I stood up. "Mr. Tyler, have some fruit." "President Olivia, I have some things to take care of tonight. You two chat. I'll head out first." With that, I quickly went to my room, grabbed a jacket, and prepared to leave. Judging by the way things were going, Tyler might even stay the night. I'd better get out of here fast so I wouldn't be in the way. "Where are you going?" Olivia suddenly stared at me with a sharp look. What could you possibly have to do? I was feeling quite annoyed. I was giving them space and she still wasn't satisfied. Did she really want me to be a third wheel and watch them? I couldn't figure out what this woman was thinking. For a moment, I couldn't come up with an excuse and just stammered. Her voice grew sharper. "Just sit right here." I froze in place. "Olivia, since Mr. Fong has things to do, let him go," Tyler said with a smile, trying to smooth things over. I breathed a sigh of relief and shot him a grateful look. To be honest, although I was a qualified employee who followed my employer's reasonable requests, I really didn't have the strange hobby of watching them flaunt their affection or listening through the walls. I turned to leave, but Olivia's voice stopped me again. "Stop right there." My foot, which had just stepped forward, froze in midair. "Tyler, it's getting late. Why don't you head back and get some rest?" She put on a gentle face and spoke softly. Tyler was stunned, unable to believe what he was hearing. He had come tonight expecting something to happen. He had even brought a box of condoms in his pocket. He hadn't expected Olivia to kick him out after less than half an hour. But then, Her next words left him even more baffled. Tyler couldn't believe that Olivia was actually sending him away. Then she said casually, "I have an early meeting tomorrow morning, and I need to study some materials tonight." Hearing this, Tyler couldn't insist. He stood up and nodded. "Okay, work is important. By the way, do you have time tomorrow? I'd like to take you to a movie. Some other time. I'm very busy tomorrow. I have several meetings." Tyler was taken aback again. After a long pause, he put on his signature smile. "All right, I'm not going anywhere now that I'm back. We'll have plenty of time." Tyler left. Before he went, he gave me a deep look. The coldness in his eyes made me shudder. He hated me now. I felt a bit helpless. "Olivia was the one who rejected you. What did that have to do with me? Didn't you see I was trying to give you space?" This made me realize that I had to get away from this pair as soon as possible. Otherwise, there would be no end to the trouble. Thinking this, I couldn't help but ask cautiously, "President Olivia, have you finished checking your belongings?" Olivia's face immediately turned cold. "Checking what?" "Your valuables. I may be poor, but I'm not that kind of person. You can check. Nothing should be missing." Before I could finish, I suddenly felt a chill emanating from her. I looked up in bewilderment and met Olivia's eyes, which seemed ready to hit me. "Do you think you're being funny?" "I don't." I couldn't figure out what this young lady was thinking. I was trying to make things good for everyone. "You check your things, I leave early, everyone's happy." "You're happy. I'm happy. Isn't that what everyone wants? Why are you giving me that look?" She stared at me coldly for a long time, until I felt thoroughly uncomfortable. Without a word, she walked into the study and slammed the door. While I was still in a daze, the door opened again. She looked like she was covered in frost, and her voice was freezing cold. "Leon, our contract isn't over yet. I paid you. Before the contract ends, if you dare leave this house, you'll see what happens." The door slammed shut again. I stood there, dumbfounded. I never expected this fairy-like female president to have a hobby of having others watch her and her white moonlight show off their love. Was she insisting on keeping me here just so I could witness how happy she was with her white moonlight? Oh well, a man's money is a man's joy. Since she has this hobby, I'll just indulge her. There's only 1 month left. I can endure it. Early the next morning, I rode in Emily's Porsche to the film set. "Your complexion looks so bad. Didn't your wife let you rest last night?" Emily glanced at me and couldn't help teasing. I blushed with embarrassment. "Emily, please don't joke with me." Emily giggled. She loved seeing me get shy like this. "If I had a cute little puppy like you at home, I wouldn't rest all night either." My face flushed even redder. I didn't know how to respond. She smiled and got back to business. "How's the script coming along?" "Not bad. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Your role is just a male fifth lead. Not much screen time, and the requirements aren't high." I nodded. The filming location was at the City Film Studio, about an hour and a half's drive from the villa. We arrived just past 8. The crew was still setting up. Emily took me straight to the director, David. This was a low-budget web drama. My role didn't have many scenes, so the director had cast me based on my photo and a little favor from Emily. This was the first time I was meeting him. David was in his 50s. He had been a fairly well-known director, having shot several hit TV dramas, but in recent years, his luck had turned. One flop after another, and he had gradually faded into obscurity, resorting to web dramas. But he still had a good network of contacts in the industry. He looked me over through his thick glasses, his gaze radiating authority. "Not bad. A good prospect. You look even better than in the photos." "Director, you flatter me. I'm just a newcomer. I hope you'll give me plenty of guidance and criticism," I said humbly. Good. Emily and I go way back. Anyone she brings is reliable. Work hard, young man. There will be plenty of opportunities in the future," David said encouragingly, patting my shoulder. Just as we were chatting, a commotion broke out in the crowd outside. "Oh my God, it's Tyler. It's actually Tyler. I've finally seen Tyler in person. He's so handsome. Why is Tyler coming to our set? Is he going to be in this drama? Wasn't the male lead already set as Zhao Wei? Tyler, such a big star, is actually going to be in a low-budget web drama? The director must be amazing." Hearing Tyler's name, I froze. Then I saw a tall young man in sunglasses, flanked by a team of assistants and bodyguards, walking into the set. He was dressed in a tailored custom suit, exuding an air of confidence and star power. It was Tyler. Emily's eyes sparkled with excitement. She was clearly a fan of his. "I remember the cast for this drama was already set. What's Tyler doing here?" David laughed heartily. I was shocked too. I got a call from Tyler's agent last night. He specifically asked for this role, and he's asking for a very low fee. I still feel like I'm dreaming. For a low-budget production like this, Forget about a big star like Tyler, even a second-tier actor wouldn't give it a second glance. I never expected Tyler to willingly lower his price to make a guest appearance. I was so excited I couldn't sleep all night. Leon, you're so lucky, Emily said excitedly. With a big star like Tyler in this drama, the exposure and buzz will skyrocket. If your performance stands out, you might even ride his coattails to a little bit of fame. I gave a faint, bitter smile. Others might not know why Tyler would lower his price to appear in a low-budget web drama, but I knew very well. It was probably because of me. I looked up at Tyler, surrounded by his entourage, and he happened to look my way as well. Our eyes met briefly across the set. Tyler casually looked away, showing no intention of greeting me. I certainly wasn't going to go out of my way to provoke him, but Emily was ecstatic. A big star like Tyler wasn't someone you could just meet every day. With this opportunity, she was determined to take me over to get some FaceTime. I wanted to refuse, but Emily dragged me over to him. Mr. Tyler, hello? I'm Emily, an agent at Huafeng Entertainment. This is my actor, Leon. He's playing the male fifth lead. She gave me a nudge, and I had no choice but to introduce myself. Mr. Tyler, hello? Tyler, still wearing his sunglasses, gave me a condescending look and simply grunted, Mr. Tyler, this is Leon's first time on set. Please give him your guidance and support. Seeing my reluctance, Emily tried to advocate for me. Young people shouldn't always think about taking shortcuts. Spend more time polishing your acting skills and improving your craft. That's more important than anything else, Tyler said coldly, his words sharp and unsparing. The set fell silent. Everyone looked at me in shock. In the entertainment industry, people usually put up a polite front to maintain harmony. It was extremely rare for someone like Tyler to openly criticize someone like this. What had Leon done to offend Tyler? People instinctively moved away from me, afraid of getting too close and angering the big star. Emily's expression was awkward. She hadn't expected this outcome. After Tyler walked away, she looked at me anxiously. Leon, have you offended him before? He's a big star. How would I have had a chance to offend him? I shrugged, trying to play it cool. As an employee, I didn't want to make Olivia's private life public. Besides, Tyler was a big star. Any scandal would cause a huge uproar. I didn't expect him to be like this. I used to like him, Emily said, clearly unhappy. Between her idol and her own actor, she unhesitatingly sided with me. My little puppy is way more well-behaved than that stuck-up Tyler. It's okay. Your role doesn't have many scenes anyway, and you don't have any scenes with Tyler. Just keep your distance from him from now on. Emily comforted me. That was what I thought too. My character existed in the female lead's memories and had no scenes with Tyler. I'd just stay out of his way. But accidents often come when you least expect them. Leon, am I the only one you love? Tell me, Leon, am I your only one? On the playground, a young girl with a delicate face walked backwards, shouting loudly at the handsome young man in front of her. Yes, Leon, you are my only one. Forever. Leon, what the hell are you doing? If you can't act, get out of here. Do you know you're wasting everyone's time? David suddenly shouted. Everyone was stunned. Leon had just given an excellent performance full of emotion and sincerity. No one knew why the director was so angry. I'm sorry, director. It was my fault. I apologized sincerely. David was stern. One more time. I pulled myself together and poured all my emotions into the character. But no matter how I acted, David wasn't satisfied. His insults grew harsher and more vulgar. Everyone could tell that it wasn't a problem with my acting. The director was deliberately targeting me. Emily, what kind of actor did you recommend? David called Emily over and gave her a dressing down. I don't want this actor. Take him away. I'll send you the penalty fee. Emily's face darkened. Director David, I need an explanation. An explanation? What explanation do you want? She can't act. It's her own fault. Whether she can act or not, you know the truth. Emily shot back. David waved his hand irritably. Don't make a scene here. Just get her out. Emily, forget it. Seeing Emily ready to argue, I pulled her aside and shook my head gently. David wouldn't go out of his way to target me like this without reason. The only explanation was Tyler pulling the strings behind the scenes. That's too much. Emily's eyes were red with anger. Leon, don't worry. If this web drama falls through, I'll find you a better one. I believe you, Emily. I gave a faint, reassuring smile. As I left the film studio, Emily said, I'll take you back. No need. I have some things to do around here. I was looking for a place online, but I haven't heard back yet. Since I'll probably be taking more roles around here, I might as well find a place nearby. Do you need any help? No, just something small. All right then. I'll be at the company if you need me. After Emily left, I was about to head off when a middle-aged woman walked up to me with an air of superiority. "Are you Leon? Come with me. Mr. Tyler wants to see you." I ignored her. Before today, I didn't have any ill feelings toward Tyler. Even if he was Olivia's white moonlight, I didn't resent him. But what Tyler did today disgusted me. I might be easygoing, but I still had my pride. "Are you deaf? Come with me now," the middle-aged woman shouted, pointing at me. "A good dog doesn't block the way," I said, stepping around her to get a taxi. The woman was furious. Her face turned green as she grabbed my arm. "Who are you calling a dog?" "Let go of me," I said coldly. "What if I don't? Mr. Tyler wants to see you. It's an honor you don't deserve. A nobody like you, if Mr. Tyler hadn't taken pity on you, you'd never even get a chance to see him. And you dare to act tough with me?" "Wendy." Tyler walked over. "Mr. Tyler, this guy is so ungrateful. He actually refused you." The middle-aged woman glared at me with hatred. Tyler's lips curled into a sarcastic smile. "Leon, don't you want to talk to me about Olivia? This isn't the place to talk. What do you want to say to me?" At a coffee shop, I looked Tyler straight in the eye. "What happened today, you saw. I just told David I didn't like you, and he kicked you out immediately," Tyler said with a smirk. "Do you think you and Olivia are from the same world?" I frowned. "Did you bring me here just to show off your superiority?" Tyler shook his finger. "You're not even qualified for that. I just want to tell you one thing. There are no fairy tales in this world. A princess will never fall in love with a frog, and a frog can never become a prince. Olivia married you under contract simply as my stand-in. I'm sure you're well aware of that. Now that I'm back, do you think it's appropriate for you to keep clinging to her?" I looked up. "You're overthinking. I've always known my place, and I've never had any intention of clinging to her. I'll find a time to make it clear to her. Don't worry about it. To me, she's just a roommate I've lived with for many years." After reading through the entire message thread, I had no interest in scrolling further. I pushed the phone back to him. A wave of indescribable emotion washed over me. Was that really the case? Over these 8 years, the two of us had lived under the same roof, barely exchanging a few words. I had been the one taking care of her all along. She had only given me 2 watches on my birthdays. Never any real response. Never any concern. Perhaps even a real roommate of 8 years would have shown at least a little care. Between the lines, I could sense Olivia's dilemma. She wanted me to leave, but her conscience wouldn't let her say the words. I didn't know why she kept stopping me when I tried to leave. What was she really thinking? Maybe I needed to be more decisive this time. Leave without saying goodbye, and only notify her after I'd moved out. Maybe that was what she really wanted. At the 79th floor of the Olivia Group building, Olivia was on the phone. "Dr. Johnson, how are things?" "President Olivia, the situation isn't very optimistic. The patient's lungs are in serious condition, and it's been delayed for too long. I told her it could be cured, but in reality, she might only have about 2 months left." Olivia's expression remained unchanged. "Is there no other way? Money is no object. Currently, there's no cure for this disease, both domestically and internationally. With enough money, we might be able to prolong her life somewhat, but the patient will suffer more." Olivia was silent for a long time before speaking again. "Dr. Johnson, you're an expert in this field. I'm counting on you. Don't worry about the money. Give her the best medication." "Yes, I understand." After hanging up, Olivia slumped back in her chair. For some reason, at this moment, she felt a strong sense of palpitations. A dull ache spread from deep within her heart. She couldn't help but recall that day when Tyler resolutely broke up with her to study abroad. She had gone with her best friend Vivian to the Dei bar to drown her sorrows. She didn't like drinking, especially the feeling of being drunk. But that day, she drank 1 glass after another, as if it was the only way to forget the pain. And it was then that she saw Leon singing on the stage. His voice was gentle and comforting. He was playing the guitar, and his profile looked so much like Tyler's. In a daze, the shadow in her heart overlapped with his. Suddenly, her inner wounds seemed to heal along with his voice. For a while after that, she went to the bar every day without fail, waiting for Leon to take the stage. She would watch his face, listen to his voice. Only in these moments could her grieving, wounded heart find some peace and solace. Later, she asked the manager about him. His name was Leon. He had just dropped out of college. He was desperately in need of money and was working multiple jobs, a model during the day, running errands on film sets, and singing at the bar at night. It just so happened that her family was pressuring her to marry. That night, after Leon finished singing and was about to leave, Olivia called him to a private room and handed him the contract. She still remembered the shock and joy on Leon's face at that moment. He solemnly assured her that he would be a good contract husband. In fact, over the years, he had done an impeccable job. He took care of her life to perfection. After a moment of reverie, Olivia picked up her phone and dialed a number. Olivia, what made you call me today? Vivian, I need to ask you for a favor. Do you have any connections in England? Can you help me find a lung specialist? Other countries are fine too. Money is no object. Olivia, what's wrong? Are you okay? No, it's not me. It's a friend of mine. She has lung cancer. Okay, I'll do my best. I'll call you when I find someone. I searched around the film studio area but couldn't find a suitable place to live. I ended up leaving my information with 2 real estate agencies. I called Aunt Tang, the nurse caring for Grandpa George, and learned everything was fine, so I finally felt at ease. I was determined to leave this time. I packed my things and checked into a cheap motel nearby. That evening, I was eating instant noodles in my motel room when Olivia called. I hesitated for a long time before finally answering. Where are you? Olivia's voice was cold, barely containing a hint of anger. I'm staying at a motel for now, I told her honestly. Come back. What? I was taken aback. I said come back. I couldn't understand. I had already done everything I could on her behalf. She was too embarrassed to ask me to leave, so fine. I left on my own. Her conscience made her try to stop me when I was leaving. Fine, I left quietly. I had done everything I could. What more did she want? I frowned. President Olivia, there's no need for me to come back. What do you mean by that? I sighed. President Olivia, there's only 1 month left on the contract, and now Tyler is back. If I stay, I don't think Mr. Tyler will feel comfortable, and you'll probably feel awkward too. So why not just leave it at that? I've done the math. Over 5 years for 5 million, that's about 140,000 yuan per month. There's 1 month left. I'll find a way to pay you back that 140,000. But I'm a bit tight right now, so it might take a while to return it. The other end was silent, but I could hear her breathing getting heavier, as if she was suppressing her anger. I was a little irritated. You've already told Tyler you'll find a way to make me leave. Isn't it unnecessary to keep up this act now? President Olivia, don't worry. I'm not the type to gossip. I won't go around spreading things and damaging your reputation. I could only think that she was afraid I might say something bad about her. After all, the Olivia Group was a publicly traded company. Even a hint of negative publicity about Olivia could affect the stock price. The other end remained silent. I thought she was satisfied with what I said. I sighed in relief and silently hung up. I quickly finished my instant noodles and stood in front of the motel bathroom mirror, practicing micro-expressions. I had nothing else to rely on. My only asset was my acting skills. Ever since I transmigrated to this world, I practiced in front of the mirror whenever I had free time, which was how I developed my current acting and vocal skills. With Grandpa George's expensive treatment costs and the 140,000 I owed Olivia, I felt a sense of urgency. That night, just as I was getting ready for bed, there was a knock at the door. I was confused. Who could it be at this hour? I put on my slippers, walked over, and peered through the peephole. My jaw dropped. Olivia? How did she find me? Why was she here? My mind was in a whirl. I couldn't think straight. It wasn't surprising that Olivia could track me down. The Olivia family had extensive connections. Finding out where someone was staying was no trouble for them. But I didn't understand why she'd come here, late at night, after we'd already said everything that needed to be said. I didn't know how to face her, but since she was already at the door, ignoring her would be rude. I took a deep breath, steeled myself, and opened the door. The moment the door opened, Olivia's star-like eyes locked onto me. Her face was expressionless. Pack your things. Come home with me. I stood there without moving, just looking at her. She seemed to have come in a hurry. Her hair was a bit messy, and she was still wearing her work attire, a tailored business suit. Olivia had a taste for the finer things in life. She didn't like strong alcohol, but she enjoyed a glass of red wine at home. She never wore her work clothes after hours. She'd always change into something more casual. She must have come straight from the office after realizing I had moved out. But I just couldn't figure out what she was doing. She clearly wanted me to leave, so why put on this act? Who was she performing for? I'm not coming back, I said, shaking my head. I already made myself clear on the phone. What are you sulking about? Is it because Tyler came to the house the other day? Olivia frowned. I was taken aback. Why would she say that? Did she think I was jealous? My face flushed. Please don't misunderstand, President Olivia. I don't have any such feelings. You and Mr. Tyler are a couple. I'm just your contract husband. I knew that the day I signed the contract, I would never have unrealistic expectations. Please don't worry. Olivia seemed a little taken aback by my words, and her expression shifted to something like annoyance. Regardless, the contract isn't over yet. I won't allow you to leave. Come back with me now. I still shook my head. Since I've already moved out, I'm not coming back. I really don't have the strange hobby of spying on lovey-dovey couples. I'm asking you one more time. Are you coming back or not? Olivia's voice grew sharper. President Olivia, I'm fine here. Olivia gave me one last, long look, then turned and walked away. I silently watched her leave. Someone as proud as her coming here to persuade me to come back was already beyond my expectations. Now that I had refused her so decisively, she would surely give up. Her pride wouldn't allow anything less. I let out a small sigh of relief. I was grateful to Olivia. If it weren't for that 5 million she gave me back then, Grandpa George might have already died. The orphanage would never have been rebuilt. But one thing was another. I didn't want to go back to that house and watch them flirt with each other. And I really didn't want to see Tyler's face again. If it hadn't been for my run-in with Tyler today, maybe I wouldn't have been so determined. But now, I felt a visceral disgust for the man. Around 11 p.m., a phone call woke me up. Hello? Leon, what kind of husband are you? The voice on the other end was sharp and angry. Come to the bar right now. Olivia is drunk. I was instantly awake. I sat up in bed and checked my phone. The call was from Olivia's best friend, Vivian. I'll be right there. My hair was a mess. I quickly got dressed and took a taxi to the bar. As soon as I entered the private room, the first thing I saw was Olivia, completely unconscious on the sofa. Her cheeks flushed bright red, muttering something under her breath. Vivian had also been drinking a fair amount. She was slumped on the couch, rubbing her temples. She was the petite and cute type, small in stature, not as stunning as Olivia but still very pretty. Leon. Vivian jumped up as soon as she saw me. What did you do to Olivia? She's so upset. She doesn't normally drink. Look at her now. I felt a bit helpless. Miss Vivian, this has nothing to do with me. Maybe she had an argument with Mr. Tyler. I didn't think it was because I had refused to come back. In the past 8 years, Olivia had never shown any emotions toward me, not even anger. Her joys and sorrows were reserved for Tyler. Vivian paused. Come to think of it, Olivia never gave this guy a second glance. Why would she be this angry at him? Her anger subsided. Take her home. Then she remembered something and raised an eyebrow. But I'm warning you, now that Tyler is back, don't you dare take advantage of her while she's drunk. I said, why don't you call Mr. Tyler to come pick her up? I already called. He has an event tonight and can't get away. There was no choice. I couldn't just leave Olivia like this. Miss Vivian, if you don't trust me, you can come back with me. There are plenty of rooms at the villa. You can stay the night. Vivian thought for a moment and nodded. All right, I really don't trust you. I gave a wry smile, walked over to Olivia, and easily lifted her in a princess carry. She was tall but surprisingly light, maybe only around 100 pounds. I worked out regularly at the gym every day, maintaining a fit physique with 8-pack abs, so I had plenty of strength. We found Olivia's Land Rover in the parking lot. I drove it smoothly toward the villa. Leon, your contract with Olivia is almost up, isn't it? Vivian asked from the back seat, rubbing her temples. Yes, 2 months left. And now that Tyler is back, what are your plans? I already moved out, I said. You moved out? Vivian was shocked. Yeah, I'm staying at a motel for now. Once I find a place, I'll move out for good. Vivian was quiet for a moment. Do you really not mind? Olivia is a billionaire. Even though it's a contract marriage, you are legally married. Are you really okay with leaving with nothing? I smiled. Why would I mind? Those things were never mine to begin with. President Olivia has been very good to me. If it weren't for her money back then, I don't know where I'd be now. I have to have a conscience. She's been so good to me, why would I make things difficult for her? After a long pause, Vivian finally said, it's good that you think that way. If you overthink things, the only one who suffers is you. Back at the villa, I carried Olivia to her bedroom, laid her down, and went to the bathroom to get a towel to wipe her face. Then I hurried to the kitchen to make a hangover soup, patiently spooning it into her mouth. Vivian stood by, watching in amazement. Do you always take care of Olivia like this? I smiled. She's my employer. She gave me 5 million. I can't repay her. So I just do what I can to make sure she doesn't have to worry about these little things when she comes home. Vivian looked a bit stunned. Just then, Olivia suddenly turned pale. She leaned over the edge of the bed and vomited. I couldn't dodge in time and some of it got on me. Even a beautiful woman vomiting is not a pretty sight. The whole room filled with an unpleasant smell. Vivian, standing nearby, also got splattered. She shrieked and quickly backed away. It was past midnight by the time I finished cleaning up. I don't remember how I fell asleep. The next morning, just as I finished making breakfast, Olivia and Vivian came out of the bathroom, washed up. Have some breakfast. It's ready. I brought out the carefully prepared breakfast. Leon, did you make all of this? Vivian stared in amazement at the table. There was a plate of osmanthus cakes shaped like hearts, decorated with fresh flowers, a plate of durian puffs carved into various animal shapes, and a bowl of fragrant, delicious lean meat porridge that whetted the appetite. She had no idea I had such culinary skills. Miss Vivian, it's nothing. Just some humble little tricks. Olivia looked at the exquisite breakfast with a complicated expression. Over the years, I would often surprise her with a variety of breakfast items. She had taken it for granted before, never thinking much of it. But now, she realized that even hiring a 5-star chef wouldn't guarantee such delicious meals every day. This is amazing. Leon, did you study to be a chef before? Vivian took a bite of an osmanthus cake, her eyes curving like crescent moons. No, I used to cook for the children at the orphanage. When I came here 3 years ago, I had more free time and studied it more seriously. Hearing this, Olivia looked up in surprise. You're an orphan? She had never known this. Over the years, I would occasionally disappear for a few days, saying I was going home. She had assumed I had a family. She never imagined I was an orphan. Olivia felt a pang of guilt. How little did she really know about her contract husband? After all these years, she didn't even know the basics. Yes, Grandpa George from the orphanage found me in a trash heap and raised me. When I was 5, a family took me in, but when I turned 10, they had their own biological son and sent me back. I spoke casually, as if telling someone else's story. I'm so sorry. I didn't know your background was so difficult, Vivian said, her eyes full of pity and apology. It's okay. I've long since moved past it. I wiped my mouth with a napkin and stood up. President Olivia, Miss Vivian, please take your time eating. I'll be going now. Olivia opened her mouth as if to say something, but with Vivian present, her cool, aloof nature wouldn't allow her to speak the words of farewell. She could only watch me leave. Olivia, are you really going to terminate the contract with him? Vivian asked, blinking. Olivia frowned. Why do you ask? Olivia, if you really do end the contract, why don't you let me have him? Let you have him? Olivia stared at her in surprise. Vivian nodded. You know my father wants to marry me off to Yisho. When she didn't respond, Vivian continued, you already have Tyler after all. He and I. Olivia started to explain, but then thought better of it. There was no need. Vivian, you two aren't suitable. Why not? It's just a contract marriage. It's not like I'm really going to fall for him. I just need a shield. What's unsuitable about it? Vivian was genuinely confused. Olivia paused for a few seconds. He's sick. Lung cancer. He might not live more than 2 months. Vivian exclaimed in shock, her eyes wide with disbelief. So you see, you two really aren't suitable. Besides, your father has seen him before. Even if he weren't sick, if you brought him home, your father wouldn't believe it. Vivian was a bit dazed. She couldn't help but picture my warm, sunny smile. It seemed like from the very first time she met me, I had always been that way warm and pleasant. She used to look down on me, never giving me a kind word or a good look. But no matter how rude she was, I always smiled at her and respectfully addressed her as Miss Vivian. Whether out of pity or something else, she suddenly felt a tightness in her chest. Even the exquisite breakfast on the table seemed tasteless. At Yongcheng Hospital, in a regular ward, I was massaging Grandpa George's body. Extended bed rest had severely weakened his physical abilities. He needed regular massage. The hired nurse didn't have much strength, so I would come every couple of days to do it myself. After the massage, Grandpa George fell into a comfortable sleep. I took the kettle and headed to the water room. At the corner, 2 familiar figures were walking toward me. Olivia, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come to the hospital with me. It's nothing. Really, I feel much better after the 4 drip. That's good. By the way, it's already noon. Let me take you out for lunch. You can't refuse this time. Otherwise, I'd feel bad for taking up your whole morning. I paused mid-step. Just then, both of them looked up and our eyes met. Olivia looked a little surprised to see me. Tyler's lips curled into a faint, mocking smile. Without acknowledging them, I gave Olivia a slight nod and continued toward the water room. Olivia hesitated for a moment, then followed me. Is there something you need, President Olivia? I asked, my voice gentle. Are you feeling better? Thank you for your concern. Yes, a little better. Olivia nodded. If you need money, just call me. I gave a small bow of gratitude. Thank you. Move back. What? I was momentarily confused. Move back. The motel can't compare to the villa. It's not like I'm short on money. There's no need for you to be stubborn. I was silent for a moment. Why did she think I was being stubborn? To be honest, I really didn't understand what this woman was thinking. Her boyfriend was back, yet she kept asking me to stay at her villa. What was that all about? After a long pause, I finally spoke. President Olivia, there's no need for me to move back. It would only cause unnecessary trouble for you and your boyfriend. I appreciate your kindness, but I know my place. Thank you anyway. He's not my. Olivia, what are you two talking about? Tyler walked over with a smile. Olivia swallowed the words she was about to say. Mr. Fong, Olivia and I are going out to lunch. I'm sure you don't mind, Tyler said with a bland smile. Olivia had cleared her busy schedule specifically to accompany him to the hospital for an 4 drip this morning. I certainly wasn't going to impose. Mr. Fong, if you're free, why don't you join us? No, thank you. I have things to do. I stepped past them and walked away. Olivia watched my retreating figure, feeling a little uneasy. Come on, Olivia. I know a great place. Let's go try it. I'm sorry, Tyler. Something urgent came up at the office. Maybe next time, Olivia said apologetically. Oh, I see. Well, work comes first. We have plenty of time, Tyler said, shrugging nonchalantly. I'll take a rain check. Olivia didn't say much more. She turned and left the hospital. The moment she turned away, Tyler's sunny, handsome face instantly darkened. He cast a cold glance in the direction I had left. Dr. Johnson, hello? At the hospital office, I met Dr. Johnson again. Have a seat, young man, Dr. Johnson said warmly. Dr. Johnson had a head of white hair and a very amiable demeanor. Dr. Johnson, is there something wrong with my grandfather? I asked anxiously. Hold on. Let Dr. Johnson speak first, Sophia said, sitting beside me, trying to comfort me. Young man, you weren't in a very good mood the other day, so I didn't tell you the truth. I've been thinking about it, and I believe the family should know. You have the right to be informed. Dr. Johnson placed a diagnosis report in front of me. Your grandfather's condition isn't good. He's a heavy smoker, so his lungs were already in a bad state. 3 years ago, the fire caused him to inhale a large amount of smoke, further damaging his lungs. It's now developed into advanced lung cancer. We estimate he may have about 2 months left. It's like being struck by lightning. How is this possible? We did a full checkup when Grandpa George was admitted to the hospital. There was no sign of cancer. Sophia's face went pale. Your previous focus was primarily on the burns, Dr. Johnson asked. Sophia nodded. She was a burn specialist, not an internist. That explains it. The elderly man has been hospitalized for a long time. You may have only done a full checkup upon admission, and your focus remained on his burns, Dr. Johnson continued. Some lung diseases start very small. When they're small, they can't be detected by instruments. This disease developed over the past 3 years without prevention. Sophia's face was ashen. As George's primary physician, she felt responsible for this oversight. She didn't know how to face me. Sophia. Although I was devastated, I still noticed Sophia's distress. This isn't your fault. You're a burn specialist. You were only responsible for the burns. It's my fault. Grandpa George used to cough a lot at the orphanage. I dismissed it as just a minor issue. It's my fault he's in this state. Sophia's eyes reddened. Even at a time like this, knowing how heartbroken I was still worried about her feelings. Dr. Johnson felt a bit emotional. He had originally planned to keep this from me for the time being. Olivia was a major shareholder of Yongchang Hospital. In other words, he was just an employee under her. He had intended to gather some lung specialists to see if there was any treatment option. If successful, it would be a major achievement, and he might even be promoted to deputy director. Unfortunately, after 3 days of discussion, the final conclusion was that the situation was hopeless. That was why he came to tell me today to give me time to prepare. From what he could see, this young man was genuinely a good person, handsome, polite, filial, and humble. No wonder someone like Olivia had taken a liking to him. Young man, while there's no cure, we can still prolong his life. It's up to you. I asked immediately, Dr. Johnson, if we can extend his life, that would be wonderful. Dr. Johnson nodded. But it will require a significant amount of money. Europe recently released a good targeted therapy drug, but it's expensive. 1 dose costs 200,000 yuan. Given your grandfather's condition, he would need at least 2 to 3 doses a month. If resistance develops, the dosage will need to increase. Without hesitation, I answered, I'll find a way to get the money. It was after 6 in the evening when I walked out of the hospital in a daze. Scenes from my childhood with Grandpa George flashed through my mind. He had found me in that trash heap. Later, Granny Mary at the orphanage told me that I was covered in sores and had a high fever back then. If Grandpa George hadn't found me, I would have died in that dump, taken away and incinerated like the rest of the garbage. When I was little, I loved curling up in Grandpa George's arms and listening to his stories. He taught me life lessons. He would secretly slip me pocket money when the other kids weren't looking. He would remember my birthday and give me the present I wanted most. He would also scold me sternly when my grades weren't good. He was my only remaining family in this world, my only spiritual support. In my previous life, I was also raised by a grandfather. Now, with 2 souls merged into one, I could feel the pain of losing a loved one more acutely than anyone. As I walked, tears began to fall. Ding-ling-ling. A phone call interrupted my thoughts. I looked at the caller ID and sighed helplessly. Hello? What? You don't even know how to say mom anymore. I raised you for nothing, a harsh, shrill voice said on the other end. This was my former foster mother, Fiona. She had raised me from age 5 to 10. In the early years, they treated me fairly well, like their own son. But when I was 8, Fiona, who had been told she couldn't have children, unexpectedly became pregnant. 10 months later, she gave birth to a chubby boy. They were overjoyed. But that's when my nightmare began. With their own biological son, they found fault with everything I did. I was forced to do all the housework before I was even 9, and any mistake was met with a beating or a scolding. A year later, they sent me back to the orphanage. That should have been the end of it. But 3 years ago, they somehow heard that I had married a wealthy female CEO. They started showing up constantly, demanding money, calling me an ungrateful bastard who had forgotten their kindness. When they couldn't find me, they went to the orphanage, causing all kinds kinds of trouble. I was hounded by them, thinking of the few years they had raised me, and that they had been decent to me in the beginning. I gave them 200,000 yuan in one lump sum. That money kept them quiet for a while, but within 6 months, they were back at it again. After learning I was an actor, they even threatened to contact reporters to expose me. Fearing it might harm Olivia's reputation, I kept giving in to them over the past 3 years. But each time I gave in, they only became bolder. I didn't even need to guess Fiona was calling for money again. I rubbed my temples tiredly, a deep sense of exhaustion washing over me. Are you deaf? Your brother is about to take the college entrance exam. He's definitely going to get into a good university. We don't have a penny right now. Transfer 200,000 yuan immediately for your brother's college fees, Fiona ordered. I sighed. Aunt Fiona, I really don't have any money. Nonsense. Don't think I don't know your wife is a billionaire. Asking for 200,000 is nothing. Are you even human? If I hadn't taken you in back then, you would have starved to death. Fiona launched into a tirade. I've already told you, she and I are only married on paper. I'm just an employee. Do you really think someone like her would fall for an orphan like me? And our contract is almost over. I don't have any money now. Grandpa George is seriously ill and needs a lot of money for treatment. Aunt Fiona, please, I'm begging you. I've given you over 1 million yuan over the years. You've built a villa and bought luxury cars. Please just leave me alone. Fiona screamed, you little bastard. Don't try to fool me. I know rich women like you young studs. That woman is definitely keeping you as her boy toy. Telling me you don't have money, who do you think you're fooling? You want me to leave you alone? Fine. Give me 10 million yuan all at once, and I'll never bother you again. I was speechless. 10 million? She actually had the nerve to say that. That woman is worth billions. 10 million is nothing. I'm warning you, if you don't give me 10 million, you'll never get rid of me. I will haunt you forever. If you don't want to make things easy for my family, don't expect things to go well for you either. Fiona sneered. Do whatever you want. I hung up and ignored her calls, no matter how many times she tried. I knew Fiona was the type to go to extremes. In the past, I was worried about Olivia, so I kept giving in. But now, with Grandpa George needing money for treatment and my contract with Olivia ending, I couldn't afford to back down anymore. I just wanted to make as much money as I could to prolong Grandpa George's life. Then I walked into the E-bar. After the day's setbacks, I felt an unusual restlessness. I just wanted a drink to ease my mind. The E-bar was a large, popular lounge bar. It was always packed. Part of that was due to the owner's excellent management. Hey kid, what are you doing here? As soon as I walked in, a beautiful woman in her 30s spotted me and walked over. Sister Yvonne. I gave her a warm smile. This woman was Yvonne, the manager of the bar. She had been very good to me when I used to work here as a singer. I'm just here for a drink today. I thought you came all this way just to see me. I'm disappointed, Yvonne said with a playful glare. I scratched my head awkwardly. You ungrateful little brat. Got yourself a rich wife and forgot all about us poor friends. Huh? You haven't been back here once in 3 years, Yvonne said, her tone tinged with bitterness. I didn't know how to respond, so I changed the subject. Sister Yvonne, is Xiao Lin still singing here? You have the nerve to ask? Xiao Lin really liked you back then. You left without even saying goodbye to her, running off with that rich woman. Do you know how upset she was? Yvonne sighed. She left less than a month after you did, but we've kept in touch. 2 years ago, she took part in a singing competition and made the top 10. Now she's signed with an agency. She's not super famous, but she gets some advertising work. It's better than singing in a bar. Really? That's great. I know being a singer was always her dream, I said, genuinely happy for my friend. Yvonne paused, then asked, how are things with you now? How's your relationship with that rich woman? I didn't want to talk about it. It is what it is. Sister Yvonne, you have a lot of customers. I don't want to keep you from work. I'll find a seat over there. I pointed to a corner and walked over. I ordered 2 bottles of Lafite and drank alone. At one point, Yvonne came over and had a drink with me. I was getting a bit tipsy when I heard a surprised voice beside me. What are you doing here? Sophia. I looked up in surprise. I was used to seeing her in her white coat, looking serious and professional. Tonight, she was wearing a fitted black bodycon dress that perfectly accentuated her curves. She was stunning. I noticed quite a few men staring at her. I was feeling down, so I came for a drink. I didn't expect to run into you. Sophia sat down in front of me and ordered a bottle of red wine. I knew why she was feeling down. Sophia, Grandpa George's situation isn't your fault. Please don't feel guilty. It would make me feel terrible. What about you? Are you here because of Grandpa George? Sophia looked at me. She remembered me telling her how much I hated drinking, especially the feeling of being drunk. Back when I sang here, I often had to drink with big spending customers, and I would end up drunk. I hated that feeling. For me to come to a bar and do what I hate most meant I must be feeling incredibly low. By then, I was already quite drunk. My head was fuzzy, and my face was flushed. I gave a self-deprecating laugh. Sophia, I just think I'm a failure. Sophia was taken aback. I took a gulp of wine and continued, my eyes glazed. I told you, Grandpa George found me in the trash. Without him, I wouldn't be here. I was a troublesome kid when I was little. I wasn't a good student. A kid like me, especially in an orphanage, would usually be given up on. But Grandpa George never gave up on me. Later, when he found out I had a talent for music, he supported my studies. You know, studying art isn't something most families can afford, let alone an orphan like me. But Grandpa George supported my dream until the very end. To pay for my tuition, imagine he worked construction at his age. Once, he even fell off a scaffold. Tears started streaming down my face. But I'm useless. I watched him suffer like that, watched his life slip away, and I couldn't do anything to help. Sophia was deeply moved. Watching me cry, her heart ached for me. Grandpa George wouldn't blame you. Please don't be so hard on yourself. You've already done so much. And didn't you say I'm your only friend? As your friend, I will help you. Sophia, thank you, I said sincerely. You've already helped me so much over the years. I don't know how to repay you. Sophia smiled gently. Silly, you took a knife for me that day and saved my life. Isn't that enough? Besides, caring for patients is my duty as a doctor. My alcohol tolerance was low. After finishing a bottle of wine, my head was spinning, and I couldn't even lift myself off the table. Sophia struggled to help me into her car and hired a driver to take us to the city district. She didn't know I had moved out of the villa. She remembered the address from the few times she had brought me home before. She didn't have Olivia's number, so she used my phone to call her. Hello. Olivia's cool voice came through the speaker. Miss Olivia? Leon is drunk. Can you come to the entrance of the neighborhood to pick him up? Who is this? Olivia's voice was sharp. She clearly wasn't expecting to hear a woman's voice on the other end. I'm his friend. There was a long silence. About 10 minutes later, Olivia appeared at the entrance, wearing casual clothes. When she saw Sophia standing by the car, she was surprised. This woman was beautiful. She rivaled Olivia in looks, and she had an intellectual air that Olivia lacked, like a refined lady from a Jiangnan water town. When did he get such a beautiful female friend? She felt a little uneasy. Why did you take him out drinking? Don't you know he's not well? Olivia asked, her tone sharp. Sophia was taken aback. Olivia's tone was unexpected. She must have been worried about Leon's health. He only had 2 months left, and this woman took him out and got him completely drunk. No wonder she was so upset. Give him to me. I'll take him inside. Sophia raised an eyebrow. Miss Olivia, as Leon's friend, I think I have the right to say this. He may not have money or status, and he's nowhere near your level, but he's a good person. He deserves to be cherished and cared for. I hope you'll treat him a little better. If you don't appreciate him, there are plenty of others who will. She didn't know the details of my relationship with Olivia, but she could guess. If this billionaire woman really treated me well, I wouldn't be so desperate for money that I'd go to a bar to drown my sorrows. Leon and I don't need outsiders interfering, but thank you for bringing him back. Olivia gave her a long look, then helped the drunk, dazed me out of the car and carried me toward the villa. Once inside, she laid me down on the bed and took a moment to catch her breath. She stared at me intently, studying this man she had lived with for so many years. When I was drunk, I was unusually quiet. I didn't make a sound, didn't talk nonsense, just fell into a deep sleep. In terms of looks, he was truly handsome. Olivia had seen many good-looking men, but I was definitely in the top 3. She watched me for a while, her expression complicated, then looked away. She went to the bathroom, got a towel, wiped my face, and covered me with a blanket. I was fast asleep and had no idea what she was doing. In her study, Olivia called Dr. Johnson. President Olivia, is something wrong? How is Leon's condition? It's not good. He came by today. It's getting more serious. I've been consulting with some colleagues, and the best option right now is to get the targeted therapy drug from Europe, Dr. Johnson said. 200,000 yuan per dose, about 3 doses a month. That amount was nothing to Olivia. She didn't care about the cost. How much longer will he live with this treatment? The drug is effective, but resistance develops quickly. It works best in the first 2 months. After that, the dosage needs to be increased until it becomes completely ineffective, Dr. Johnson said. Based on my estimate, with this treatment, he might live another 6 months at most. Olivia was quiet for a moment. Money isn't an issue. If you can keep him alive longer, I'll remember your help. Don't worry, President Olivia. I'll do everything I can. After hanging up, Olivia tiredly rubbed her temples. She couldn't help but walk back to my room and stare at me for a while. A few minutes later, she made another call. Go to room 308 at Yongjiang Hall, pack up his things, and bring them to my villa. Less than an hour later, Brian arrived with my luggage from the motel. He asked, confused, President Olivia, since he left on his own, isn't that the best outcome for you and Tyler? Olivia hadn't told anyone about the illness. She didn't want it to become public knowledge. I gave him 5 million. Until the contract is over, he's not going anywhere. Brian was even more puzzled. 5 million? Olivia could easily spend over $1 million on a single shopping trip. Why would she care about 5 million? He looked at her with a strange expression. President Olivia, you're not falling for him, are you? Just go back. Olivia cut him off before he could finish. Brian paused for a moment, then said, Olivia, you and Tyler have finally reconciled. You've waited for him for so many years. Now that he's back, if you keep getting entangled with Leon, Tyler won't be happy. Olivia glared at him. You're getting talkative lately. Are you telling me how to live my life? Brian left. After he was gone, she stood in the living room in a daze. She loved reading Western literature and admired the ideal of a platonic spiritual love. In college, Tyler had pursued her fiercely. He was the campus heartthrob, handsome, from a wealthy family, and talented. He was very popular with girls. Olivia had also been attracted to him. After he relentlessly pursued her, she agreed to date him. But she made a rule: no physical contact, only spiritual connection. If one day she truly felt they were compatible, she would give him everything. First, Tyler agreed. But after they graduated, he couldn't take the can look but can't touch relationship anymore. He gave her an ultimatum: either sleep together or break up. After Tyler left for further studies abroad, Olivia reflected on herself. Maybe she had been too strict. In a modern society, where you'd hardly find a couple dating for over a year without even holding hands, she felt she had been unfair to him. The more she thought about it, the more she felt she owed Tyler. She planned to give him everything when he returned, if they still loved each other. But when Tyler came back, when she saw him at the airport, although he was more handsome and more charismatic than before, she didn't feel the joy she had expected. Olivia was naturally reserved. Even during the year she dated Tyler, they had spent little time together. He was always away filming. She wasn't very clear about her own feelings. Even now, she wasn't sure what she felt for Tyler. Perhaps it was some lingering affection, or perhaps it was just a stubborn obsession and a sense of guilt for having wronged him. Just then, she heard a noise coming from my room. She was a little surprised. She walked in and saw me sitting up in bed, dazed and confused. "You're awake. President Olivia? Why are you here?" I asked, slurring my words. Olivia said, "This is my villa. Where else would I be? How did I end up here?" "I'm sorry, President Olivia. I'll leave right away." I wobbled to my feet and tried to leave. "Sit down." Olivia snapped. "It's the middle of the night. Where are you going?" "I already had your things brought back and the motel room cancelled. You're staying here from now on." "You had my luggage brought back?" I stared at her blankly. "I told you the contract isn't over. You're not going anywhere. At least for this month, you'll stay here. If you dare move out again without telling me, you'll see what happens." My head was spinning. I looked at this stunningly beautiful woman and, fueled by the alcohol, a wave of anger surged within me. "Why are you doing this?" I shouted. Olivia was taken aback. She had never expected me, who was usually as docile as a kitten, to raise my voice at her. "Because I paid you $5 million. That's why." "Olivia, don't go too far. I have my pride too. Why are you humiliating me like this? What exactly do you want from me?" I yelled. "I told you I would pay you back the $140,000. What else do you want from me? Why do you insist on keeping me here? Is it just to satisfy your strange hobby?" Olivia was confused. "What strange hobby? I want to leave, but you won't let me. You force me to stay, just so I can watch you and your dear Prince Charming flaunt your love in front of me." Olivia stood there for a good while, looking at my dazed and confused expression, and suddenly couldn't help but let out a chuckle. Instantly, the room was filled with spring. The next morning, I sat up in bed, rubbing my swollen head, and stared blankly at this familiar, yet unfamiliar environment. At some point, I suddenly realized that I had said some things I shouldn't have last night. I patted my head in annoyance. "Leon, oh Leon, I told you not to drink, but you had to drink anyway. How am I going to clean up this mess now?" I felt an overwhelming sense of mortification, as if I could dig a hole in the ground and bury myself. The words were already out there. How was I going to face her now? I sat on the bed in a daze for a long time, then went to the bathroom to wash up and walked into the living room. The moment I entered the living room, I froze. In the kitchen, Olivia, wearing a silk nightgown, was busying herself. The soft silk nightgown clung to her curvaceous figure, yet it couldn't hide her graceful silhouette. I rubbed my eyes, wondering if I was still hungover and seeing things. Having lived with Olivia for so many years, I had never seen her set foot in the kitchen. It seemed only natural. She was a wealthy heiress, a billionaire female president who had never lifted a finger in her life. She usually dealt with contracts worth tens of millions or even hundreds of millions. To think of her touching a kitchen felt like a crime to me. That's why, over the years, I had handled all the kitchen work myself, never letting Olivia get near any grease or grime. Now, suddenly seeing her cooking in the kitchen, apparently making soup, I was absolutely stunned. For a moment, I wondered if she had been possessed by someone else. But I had to say, Olivia, when cooking seriously, wasn't as aloof as usual. The lines of her face were softer, and a faint smile played at the corners of her mouth. She seemed to radiate a gentle, virtuous glow. Indeed, a woman is most beautiful when she's serious. Olivia seemed to hear the commotion outside. She turned her head and saw me standing there, dumbfounded, staring at her with wide eyes. She paused for a moment, then the corner of her mouth curled up slightly. "You're awake?" "Why yes," I answered, my face burning with embarrassment. You're making soup? It's almost ready. Just wait a moment." I nodded instinctively, but my feet felt glued to the floor. I couldn't leave, nor could I stay. Finally, I asked cautiously, "Do you need any help?" "No, it'll be ready soon." "All right then, I'll get the bowls and chopsticks ready." Before long, I sat at the dining table, drinking the bird's nest soup Olivia had personally made. My expression was dazed for a moment. The soup tasted mediocre. That was to be expected. Olivia was clearly a beginner. She had probably followed an online tutorial for this bird's nest soup, so it wasn't going to be great, but I still savored it with relish. Not everyone got to taste soup made by a beautiful female president herself. With that status attached to it, the soup seemed to taste even better. While drinking the soup, I couldn't help but steal a glance at Olivia, who sat across from me like a model. I thought to myself, since the words were already out last night, I might as well get things clear and be done with it. "President Olivia, after breakfast, I'll move out." Olivia didn't even look up. She had only taken one sip of the bird's nest soup before putting it down, probably because she didn't like the taste. Now she was looking at financial news on her phone. Seeing that she didn't respond, I continued, "I've already already contacted a real estate agent near the film studio to pre-rent a place. I should hear back in a couple of days. Hearing this, Olivia suddenly looked up, her expression cold. In these 3 years, have I treated you badly in any way? I quickly said, President Olivia, thanks to your kind care, you not only gave me 5 million yuan but also provided me with good food and lodging here. You've never asked me for a penny for expenses, and you gave me gifts on my birthdays. I remember all of that. Since that's the case, why do you insist on leaving? Olivia's gaze grew colder. I opened my mouth, looking at her with a puzzled expression. Why was I so eager to leave? She should know best. Wasn't it to avoid getting in the way of her and her white moonlight? Without the courage that alcohol gave me, I couldn't say those words outright. For a moment, I didn't know how to respond. Is it because of Tyler? Olivia asked directly. I was speechless. You know that, and you still ask? President Olivia, I've thought it through carefully. I looked up at her, my gaze sincere. Your secretary, Brian, told me that you signed this contract with me to appease your boyfriend. Now that he's back, I think there's no need for this contract to continue. If I stay, it might cause misunderstandings between you and your boyfriend. So, it's best for everyone if I leave now. Don't you think? Of course, I won't take advantage of you. I'll pay you back the 140,000 yuan for the remaining month as soon as possible. Olivia's brows were tightly furrowed, and she remained silent for a long while. I sighed in relief. She must have taken it in. It seemed like I could resolve this smoothly today. From now on, we would go our separate ways. That would be best for everyone. I tactfully stood up, went to the kitchen to wash the bowl, and then walked briskly to my room to grab my things and leave. But as I was about to go, Olivia's cold voice came from behind. Try leaving if you dare. I'm a businesswoman. Since I paid you, you have to fulfill your obligations. Before the contract ends, you're not going anywhere. Don't mention the 140,000 yuan again. I don't lack money. You have to stay here until the contract ends. If you dare leave, you'll see what happens. My body stiffened. I stared at her, but she just strode off and slammed the door to her study. A bitter smile crossed my face. I wanted to say, do you need to go to the hospital? Having such a perverse hobby is also a disease. Was she really keeping me here just for that thrill? I felt as if all the strength had been drained from my body. I slumped onto the sofa, dazed for a long time before letting out a helpless sigh. Forget it. Forget it. It's only a month. I'll just grit my teeth and endure it. Since I had decided to stay, I stopped worrying about moving out. The priority now was to find a way to make money. Grandpa George needed 3 doses of targeted therapy a month, which came to 600,000 yuan a month. That was an astronomical sum for me. I wondered how Sister Emily was doing. I was about to call her to ask, but before I could, her call came in. Leon, hurry over to Yongqing Tower. There's a big opportunity. Okay, I'll be right there. I perked up immediately, quickly styled myself, put on some business casual clothes, and took a taxi to Yongqing Tower. As soon as I got out of the car, I saw Emily, dressed impeccably, waiting at the entrance. She hurried over to me. I'll make it short. Do you know about the drama, The Legend of the Imperial Consort? I nodded. This was a big-budget production with an investment of over 200 million yuan and a star-studded cast. The female lead was Lily, the most bankable actress, and there were several veteran actors in supporting roles. State television had already secured the broadcasting rights. It was a huge project. A nobody, wouldn't even dream of getting a role in such a production. If this drama didn't turn out too badly, even a slightly prominent supporting character could get a bit of fame. All the major companies were fighting to get their artists cast. Since I wasn't signed to any agency and was working under Emily's studio, I had very limited resources. I didn't even have the confidence to compete. Originally, the male third lead in this drama was given to Wang Dongsheng from Pancher Entertainment. But unfortunately for him, he had an acute appendicitis a couple of days ago and is still in the hospital, Emily said with a smile. I worked hard and managed to get this role from Pancher Entertainment, but it's only an audition. Whether you get it depends on your own ability. I was overjoyed. It was the male third lead. Given my qualifications, I wouldn't even have gotten an audition. Emily had already helped me a lot. Sister Emily, I'll do my best. Emily looked at my handsome face and smiled. Of course I believe in you. Unfortunately, time is tight. The audition is at 2:30 p.m., and there are only about 5 hours left. You'd better start studying the script now. I didn't dare delay. I took the script and immersed myself in it immediately. What are you doing here? Just as I was completely absorbed in the character, a surprised voice interrupted me. I looked up sharply and met Tyler's eyes, which were filled with shock and barely concealed anger. A wave of disgust rose in my heart. I didn't respond. I lowered my head and stared at the script. You're here for an audition? Seeing the script in my hands, Tyler frowned, as if puzzled that someone of my caliber could even be considered for such a role. Mr. Tyler, what I do here has nothing to do with you, does it? His condescending tone irritated me. Tyler sneered. You're a two-faced snake. Calling you a troublemaker would be a compliment. Do you remember what you said at the cafe that day? You promised to move out, but look at you now, clinging to her like a leech. Don't you have any shame? Hearing this, my first reaction wasn't anger, but annoyance. Tyler knew I had moved back into the villa so quickly. It must have been Olivia who told him. What exactly did she want? On one hand, she forced me to stay with such a strong-willed attitude. On the other, she was stirring up trouble with her white moonlight. What was her game? For the first time, I felt a surge of resentment towards Olivia. Even if I was just an employee who took her money, she shouldn't trample on my dignity like this. Mr. Tyler, I think you're talking to the wrong person, I said flatly. Do you think I could move back without Olivia's consent? Seeing Tyler Tyler's stunned expression, I continued, instead of coming after me, why don't you talk to Olivia? If she agrees, I'll move out immediately. Tyler's face darkened. You'd better recognize what you are. You're just a piece of trash from an orphanage. Do you really think you can aspire to a rich heiress? Don't you find it naive? Ridiculous? Olivia only took you in out of pity. You don't really think she has feelings for you, do you? I warn you, get as far away as possible. If you keep clinging to Olivia, I'll make sure you can't survive in this industry. He paused, then flashed a mocking smile. You want to audition for this drama, right? Do you know who invested in it? Olivia is the biggest investor, and she invested because I wanted to play the male lead. No matter how you got this audition, if I make one call to Olivia, even if you get the role, it won't matter. Believe me? Without waiting for my response, Tyler walked away with an air of superiority. I sat there, frozen, my mind a complete mess. Who is Leon? Please come in for your audition. A female assistant walked into the waiting room. I snapped out of it. Although I knew Tyler was telling the truth with just one word, Olivia would probably kick me out of the crew. I still held on to a sliver of hope. What if? I desperately needed money right now. This drama was very important to me. Even if there was only a 1 in 10,000 chance, I wanted to try. I followed the assistant into the room and saw the 3 audition judges sitting in front of me. My heart began to race. The man in the middle with a big beard was Henry, a famous TV director with several blockbusters to his name. He was also the director of The Legend of the Imperial Consort. To his left sat a woman in her late 20s, dressed elegantly in a cheapao. She was stunningly beautiful. It was the famous TV actress Lily. To his right sat the veteran actor Tom, a titan in the industry with many classic works to his name. Hello, Director Henry, Teacher Tom, Teacher Lily. I greeted them with a slight bow. Leon, right? Please have a seat. Tom spoke kindly. I'd like to hear your analysis of this character first. I nodded, composed myself, and began. I think the character Yongkwon is actually very complex. His personality isn't static, but changes throughout 3 main phases. I spoke for over 10 minutes, then stopped at an appropriate point. Teachers, this is my humble understanding of the character. Lily's eyes lit up, and her gaze carried undisguised appreciation. It seems you've done some in-depth research on this character. I have a lot of scenes with him, so I'm quite invested in this role. Today, I specifically came to participate in the auditions. I've already seen over a dozen actors before you, some of them quite famous, but none of them understood the character as deeply as you do. Thank you for your kind words, Teacher Lily. I was a little nervous. I just had a good memory. Plus, I had developed a habit of analyzing characters over time, so I could quickly grasp their personalities from complex plots. Leon, as an actor, the real test is your acting skills. Although you've done a good job analyzing the character, ultimately it comes down to your performance, Lily said with a smile. I'll personally do a scene with you. Do you remember the seizing the bride from the Eastern Palace scene? That's the one. Of course, I replied quickly. This scene was very representative. The character I was auditioning for, Yongkwon, was a royal guard captain. He fell madly in love with the female lead, a time-traveling maid, at first sight. To save her, he defied the emperor's orders, mobilized the imperial guards, stormed the duke's mansion, and beat the duke's son to a pulp. There were many similar scenes. In short, he was a devoted simp who would do anything for the female lead. But this was a historical drama, and no matter how devoted he was, he couldn't defy the plot. The female lead ultimately chose the Eastern Palace crown prince. The seizing the bride scene was the culmination of Yongkwon's years of unrequited love, a powerful, emotional outburst. It was a pivotal scene and quite difficult to act well. In the room, Lily and I faced each other. Xiang, tell me, did the crown prince force you? You love me. How can you marry him? I yelled emotionally, my voice low and trembling. The muscles in my face twitched slightly, and a surge of grief and despair burst from my eyes. Wow. Henry and Tom unconsciously sat up straighter. This kid's got something. The emotion was natural and perfectly controlled, hardly any trace of acting at all. His lines were full of emotion, his enunciation clear, with a magnetic quality that really grabbed your attention. Lily was momentarily stunned, but quickly recovered. I'm sorry, Brother Yongkwon. I don't know what I did to make you misunderstand. Actually, I've always thought of you as a brother. Brother? No, I don't want to be your brother. I looked flustered, at a loss. I impulsively grabbed Lily's hand. Xiang, I love you. I would do anything for you. I know the crown prince must be threatening you. I'll take you away. I'll take you far away, somewhere no one knows us. My voice became pleading, and my body trembled slightly. Brother Yongkwon, you're hurting me. The crown prince isn't threatening me. I'm marrying him willingly. Brother Yongkwon, I'm very grateful for your love, but I really only see you as a brother. The only one I love is the crown prince. I know this hurts you, but I don't want you to keep making this mistake. Ha 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 ha. Brother. So all this time, to you, I was just your brother. Hearing this, I laughed maniacally, my eyes suddenly flooding with tears. My eyes became bloodshot. Henry and Tom watched me, completely captivated by the emotion of the scene. Clap, 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 clap. Soon, applause filled the room. Well done. That was fantastic. Lily discreetly wiped her tears and smiled at me. Leon, you're amazing. I almost couldn't keep up. Have you never played a major role before? Mostly just minor roles in web dramas, I answered honestly. Henry nodded approvingly. Young man, you have a real gift for acting. In this scene, your emotional transitions were smooth and natural, not overdone or exaggerated. Your emotions were full and genuine, especially the crying. That was very impressive. Tom smiled warmly. Keep working hard, young man. These days, young actors are are too impatient. They only care about making money, not honing their craft. They rely on their looks and only last a few years. You're different. If you keep polishing your acting skills, you'll definitely have a place in this industry. I was overwhelmed by their praise. Thank you, teachers. Thank you for your encouragement. Go and prepare, young man. Unless something unexpected happens, this role is yours. Henry rarely made a final decision during auditions because there were always so many personal connections involved. But my performance had completely convinced him. With top-tier looks, excellent acting skills, and solid vocal delivery, I was a rare, naturally gifted young actor who just needed someone to push him. He didn't mind being that person. With my humble personality, if I became a big star, I'd remember this favor. Thank you, Director Henry. And thank you, Teacher Tom and Teacher Lily. I showed just the right amount of excitement. Coming out of the room, I couldn't suppress my joy and pumped my fist in triumph. Getting this role alone meant a salary of 3 million yuan. If I could gain some recognition from it, I'd never have to worry about finding acting work again. This role was crucial for me, not just for the money to treat Grandpa George, but for my entire acting career. Leon. I was about to share the good news with Emily when a familiar voice called out from behind me. I turned around. Teacher Lily? Lily smiled. Add me on WeChat. There's still some time before official filming starts. If you have time, we can discuss the character more to make our performances even better. My mind went blank. A top star like Lily was taking the initiative to add me on WeChat? I was flattered beyond belief. I quickly pulled out my phone and added her. Teacher Lily, I look forward to your guidance. Lily looked at my handsome face. Don't call me Teacher Lily. I'm not much older than you. It makes me feel old. Just call me Sister Lily from now on. I have some things to attend to, but we can talk more on WeChat. Take care, Teacher Lily. Still calling me Teacher Lily? I blushed slightly. Sister Lily. That's right. Lily giggled, her smile lingering as she walked away. I found Emily in the waiting room. Henry has made his decision. The role is yours. Emily was thrilled. Yes, Director Henry said that. Amazing. Leon, I knew you could do it. Emily hugged me excitedly. Getting this role will definitely get you noticed. Then I can ride your coattails too. Sister Emily. My face was bright red, and I didn't know how to handle it. Emily realized she was being too emotional and quickly let go. Seeing my ears turn red, she laughed. Even though you're married, you're still so shy. Come on, let's go celebrate. My treat. She chose a mid-range Western restaurant in the city center. After we ordered, Emily said, filming starts early next month. We still have about half a month to prepare. I'm sure your acting skills are good enough, but don't slack off. You should keep practicing. I've already arranged to discuss acting with Sister Lily. What? Sister Lily? Lily? Emily's eyes widened in disbelief. You call her Sister Lily, and she's going to discuss acting with you? That's Lily. On the surface, she seems friendly, but she's actually quite difficult to get along with. I've heard stories about her in the industry. She's known for having a fiery temper and a strong family background. She slapped directors and investors who tried to harass her. On screen, she's the female lead. In real life, she's a queen. So why would a powerhouse like her want to discuss acting with you? Is there a problem? I looked up, confused. Emily stared at me, her expression complex. Lily, who claims to be interested in no man, is just another mortal after all. Halfway through the meal, two people walked in and headed toward us. The moment the man and woman entered, they drew everyone's attention. It was Olivia and her white moonlight, Tyler. Olivia, let's sit by the window, Tyler said, smiling at Olivia beside him. Since his return, he had invited Olivia out alone many times, but she always declined, saying she was busy. But he knew Olivia's personality. She was slow to warm up. After so many years apart, there was still some awkwardness between them. He believed that, just like in college, if he pursued her passionately, he would eventually win her over. So he wasn't in a rush. Every day he sent flowers, had breakfast delivered, and texted her constantly. This afternoon, he tentatively invited her to dinner, and to his surprise, she'd agreed. He was still excited, feeling like he was on the verge of winning her back. Tyler chose a table right in front of Emily and me. Olivia sat with her back to me, while Tyler faced me directly. When our eyes met, we were both slightly taken aback. Tyler then flashed a smirk. Olivia, I really appreciate this. You know, I'm just the illegitimate son of the Tyler family. I don't have much standing, and the family resources aren't available to me. If it weren't for you investing in this drama, I wouldn't have had a chance at the male lead. It's nothing. Helping you is one thing, but the drama itself also has good market potential. Olivia, do you remember our college days? You said you wanted to make me a superstar. Tyler looked at her, his eyes full of affection. Back then, if you hadn't used your family's resources to support me, I wouldn't be where I am today. 3 years ago, I was impulsive and left you. I heard from Chun Meng that you were very sad for a long time. Honestly, I've missed you terribly all these years, and I deeply regretted that impulsiveness. I never imagined you'd still be willing to help me now. Olivia, you're so good to me. Olivia was silent for a few seconds. Don't sell yourself short. Your current success is also due to your own hard work. I didn't want to hear them pour out their hearts to each other, but they were sitting so close that it was impossible not to overhear. I grew increasingly restless and anxious. I thought to myself, Olivia could actually be gentle when she wanted to be. But that gentleness was only for Tyler. In front of me, she was always aloof and condescending. Perhaps that was the difference between an employee and a lover. Listening to their pleasant conversation, I felt hollow inside. Even the delicious steak tasted like cardboard. "Oh, Olivia, how's that thing I asked you about?" Tyler asked. "He's just a newcomer. I don't think he's capable of handling the important role of male third lead. You invested in this drama for me. I can't allow a rotten apple to spoil the barrel. I've already talked to director Henry." Olivia's tone was light. Hearing this, my eyes went blank, and my whole body trembled slightly. "Leon, what's wrong?" Emily noticed my distress. I was flustered and stood up abruptly. "Sister Emily, I'm not feeling well. Let's get out of here." Okay, we'll leave right away." Emily was startled by my dazed expression and quickly stood up to take me away. "Leon, you're here too?" Tyler pretended to just notice me and called out. At his words, Olivia immediately turned around and saw us standing up to leave. Her gaze lingered on my face for a moment, then shifted to Emily's. Although Emily was over 30, she had great bone structure and was skilled at makeup. Under her careful styling, she looked charming and elegant, a woman who could easily capture the attention of most men. Over the past year of working with Emily, although she'd driven me to the neighborhood gate many times, she'd never actually run into Olivia. I never mentioned Olivia to her either, so she didn't recognize her. At that moment, Emily only felt a strange sensation. She could vaguely sense that this woman's gaze toward her seemed to carry a hint of hostility. I didn't meet Olivia's scrutinizing gaze or respond. I turned and tried to leave, as if this place was a dangerous trap. I had always thought I understood Olivia, always believed she was a kind woman. But suddenly, she seemed utterly foreign to me. So foreign it was frightening, and so heartless it was terrifying. This role was my chance for a comeback. It was the capital I needed to pay for Grandpa George's targeted therapy. But now, she had taken it all away with a single sentence, just to please her white moonlight. I never liked to judge people harshly. Even with my foster mother Fiona, who had treated me so badly, I never hated her. I tried to remember the good times. But when I needed help the most, the woman I was most grateful for had cruelly cut off my hope. "Leon, stop," Olivia said coldly. I paused, then slowly turned around to face her, my eyes red-rimmed. My nails dug into my palms as I tried not to show how much this hurt. But deep down, I thought, what right did I have to blame her? It was her money. She could choose whoever she wanted for her project. She didn't owe me anything. Tyler was her real boyfriend. Of course, she would try to please him by taking away my role. Wasn't that normal? Olivia met my bloodshot eyes and was momentarily startled. In all the time she'd known me, I had always been warm and gentle, with a perpetual smile on my face. Just looking at me seemed to make all her worries disappear. Though she was reluctant to admit it, she enjoyed the time she spent with me. When she worked in her study, and I busied myself in the kitchen or cleaned the house while humming a tune, even without facing each other, just knowing I was there, with my presence, made her feel at ease. She had never seen such a desperate, heartbreaking look in my eyes before. Her heart ached slightly, and her tone softened. "Leon, Tyler and I are just discussing some work. Come sit with us." She had agreed to have dinner with Tyler today mainly because of his relentless gifts and messages over the past few days. It was becoming a problem. Many people at the company knew she was married. Tyler's persistent advances were causing rumors. She wanted to use this opportunity to talk to him. She hadn't expected to run into me here. Normally, with her proud and aloof nature, she wouldn't bother to explain herself. But seeing me look so broken, she made an exception. "No need, President Olivia. We're done eating. If there's nothing else, I'll be going." I said this and left the restaurant almost in a daze. Outside the restaurant, I gasped for breath like a drowning fish, unable to suppress the overwhelming sadness. "Leon, what's going on? Do you know that woman?" Emily followed me, her eyes full of concern. "Sister Emily, I'm sorry. I felt I had let her down." Emily had always done her best for my career. There had been several good opportunities before, but they required filming out of town for long periods. Because of my contract with Olivia, I always prioritized her needs out of gratitude for the $5 million, and also because I had to take care of Grandpa George. I'd given up those chances without complaint. Now, getting the role of Yongkwan, I was overjoyed, not just for myself but for Emily too. But in the end, I disappointed her again. A wave of guilt washed over me. "Why are you apologizing?" Emily was confused. "The role is probably gone." Emily's eyes widened. "Why?" I didn't want to hide it anymore. "That woman you saw is my wife. She's very wealthy and one of the investors in The Legend of the Imperial Consort." "She's your wife?" Emily was shocked. I laughed bitterly. "Do you think I could deserve someone like her? Actually, we're in a fake marriage. We signed a contract. There's only a month left." Emily was speechless, her mind reeling. "That man she was with, you recognized him, right? That's Tyler. He's her boyfriend. Now you know why he's been so hostile toward me." I smiled bitterly. She invested in this drama mainly for Tyler, to give him the male lead. Since he despises me so much, there's no way he'd let me play the male third lead. You heard them, they've already decided to take the role away from me. The information was overwhelming. Emily was stunned for a moment, then felt a surge of anger. "That's too much. They're bullies. Forget it." I sighed. "She invested the money. She can choose whoever she wants. But you've been her husband for so many years. Even if it's fake, she shouldn't be so heartless. That woman may be beautiful, but she's got a cruel heart." The more Emily thought about it, the angrier she became. She wanted to go back and give Olivia Olivia a piece of her mind, but I held her back. Sister Emily, don't be impulsive. How can you expect me not to be impulsive? Emily was furious. You finally got this chance. What gives them the right to take it away with just a word? I shook my head, my eyes hollow. No matter what, she helped me back then. Without the 5 million she gave me, Grandpa George wouldn't be alive today, and the orphanage might have been shut down. I will always remember her kindness. Emily looked at my dazed eyes, her heart aching. You're too kind. You always put others first. Don't worry, the opportunity is gone. I'll find you another. I don't believe they can control everything. With your acting skills and talent, someone will appreciate you. As we left the restaurant, Olivia and Tyler came out. Olivia had lost her appetite before the food even arrived and had abruptly ended the meal. She happened to see my departing figure. Tyler glanced at her dazed expression, a trace of jealousy flashing in his eyes. He smiled and said, I didn't expect Leon to have a girlfriend so quietly. She's pretty, but she looks a bit older than him. Haha, maybe he's already found himself a new sugar mama now that his contract with you is almost up. Who would have guessed? He always acts so innocent, but behind the scenes, he plays around quite a bit. Olivia remained silent, a cold smile playing on her lips. Tyler, stop sending flowers to my company. Tyler was taken aback. Leon and I are still legally married. Many people at the company know this. Your very public flower deliveries have been causing rumors. Olivia explained. Tyler was flustered. Olivia, you know how I feel about you. Since you've been waiting for me all these years, and you even found a replacement like Leon. Now that I'm back, isn't it pointless to keep him around? He truly couldn't understand what Olivia was thinking. On one hand, she pretended to be devoted to him, staying celibate for his sake and finding a stand-in who looked a bit like him. She even cherished everything he'd given her, carefully tending to a pot of orchids he'd gifted her. But when he returned, she was distant and indifferent. Olivia was silent for a few seconds. Back then, I told you I preferred a platonic, spiritual relationship. Over the years, I thought what I felt for you was that kind of love. Maybe it was just an obsession. I kept imagining and idealizing you, so I treasured your gifts. I thought it was romantic. I even thought, when you returned, I'd forget everything and run to you. Tyler looked at her with hopeful eyes. She paused, then continued. But when I saw you at the airport that day, I realized I didn't feel the way I thought I would. I didn't feel much excitement or joy. Why? Tyler clenched his fists, his eyes burning with frustration and despair. Olivia shook her head. I don't know. It just wasn't the same. Tyler gritted his teeth. Is it because of Leon? Olivia was silent for a moment. What's so good about him? He has no career, no family background. He's just handsome, but I'm good looking too. What does he have that I don't? Tyler almost shouted. Olivia looked up at him, her eyes steady. You don't have to be like this. I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have pushed you that way. Please, give me another chance. I'll respect your boundaries. I won't force you again, Tyler pleaded. Olivia didn't answer. She turned and walked toward the parking lot. Leon, damn it, I'm not done with you, Tyler muttered through gritted teeth. On the way home, I received a call from Henry. Hello, Director Henry. I understand. It's okay. I know some things are beyond your control. I don't blame you. Yes, I look forward to working with you if there's an opportunity in the future. On the call, he apologized sincerely, saying he appreciated me but due to unforeseen circumstances, the collaboration wasn't possible. He invited me to audition for future roles. Although I'd already guessed the role was lost, actually receiving the confirmation left me feeling a little empty. It was such a good opportunity. It's a pity things didn't work out. Now, I had to find another way to get the money for Grandpa George's targeted therapy. Hello everyone. This is the famous Tangxing neighborhood. As you can see, the villas here start at over 1 million yuan. The few front row villas are over 1 billion. Today, I'll take you all inside to see for yourselves. As I walked past the neighborhood entrance, I saw a guy with dyed yellow hair and a whole crew behind him, apparently live streaming. Watching this scene, I suddenly remembered that the previous owner of this body was also an online content creator. His account name was Riding the Wind and Breaking the Waves, verified as an independent musician. I took out my phone and checked it. There were dozens of videos, only 3 originals, the rest were covers. But the original owner's personality was similar to mine, quite shy, so none of the videos showed his face. And his singing was only at a karaoke level. The videos didn't get many likes. The most popular one only had about 70,000 likes. Should I post an original song? The idea suddenly came to me. With my current status, getting another chance like The Legend of the Imperial Consort was practically impossible. Relying on acting to earn enough for the targeted therapy was unrealistic. Maybe becoming a music influencer was a viable path. Besides, in my previous life I'd worked in a record company, was a music major, and was skilled in songwriting, composing, and arranging. I had a vast library of hit songs from my previous life in my memory. If I could bring them to this world, maybe I could even become famous. The thought took root and grew like a vine in my mind. As soon as I got home, I took out paper and a pen. In less than 10 minutes, a complete song and lyrics were perfectly transcribed. At the same time, I downloaded software on my computer and started arranging the music. By 5 p.m., a complete track was finally finished. I lacked professional recording equipment, so the video quality wasn't ideal. But with my current means, I couldn't ask for more. First, I registered the copyright. Then I wrote a brief caption and uploaded the video to the platform. After stretching, I noticed it was almost 6 and quickly went to the kitchen to cook. Just as I finished cooking, I heard the front door open. Olivia was back. You're back? Dinner is ready. My voice was gentle. She looked up at me as if assessing my mood. Seeing that I seemed calm, she nodded and went to the bedroom. After a while, she came out in her pajamas, her hair down from its usual sleek updo. Dinner was as quiet as usual. After eating, I was washing the dishes when Olivia called out to me. "Leon, let's talk." I was startled. A flicker of hope stirred in my heart. Was she going to bring up the contract? That would be great. I couldn't say I had no resentment toward Olivia over what happened today. That role meant everything to me, but I also understood. She had invested her own money, and she could cast whoever she wanted. Besides, Tyler was her real boyfriend. It was only natural she'd do anything for him, even kicking me out. And if it weren't for the $5 million she'd given me back then, Grandpa George wouldn't be alive today. That was a life-saving debt. So, despite my disappointment and frustration, Olivia's coldness wasn't really a crime. What right did I have to blame her? "President Olivia, I know what you're going to say. Is it about ending the contract?" I spoke first. "Okay, I agree. Can you spare some time tomorrow morning? We can go to the Civil Affairs Bureau and get the divorce." Olivia was stunned. That wasn't what she wanted to talk about, and she hadn't planned on ending the contract early. She'd only noticed me looking tired during dinner and wanted to ask how I was doing, concerned about my health. She hadn't expected me to bring up divorce. Her expression darkened. "Leon, there's no need for that. When we signed the contract, we agreed this was just a working relationship. The marriage certificate is just a formality. I don't want you getting any wrong ideas. Do you understand?" I was taken aback. Over the years, I'd heard similar things many times from Brian and also from Tyler, but this was the first time I'd heard it directly from Olivia. At that moment, I felt my heart clench, but soon, the feeling faded until it was completely numb. Olivia regretted saying it immediately. She didn't know why she'd said it. Maybe she felt I was jealous of Tyler, and it annoyed her. She instinctively wanted to discourage me, to save me from unnecessary heartache. "Please rest assured, President Olivia. I know my place. I know my position. I will never have any unrealistic expectations. After the contract ends, I will stay far away from you and Mr. Tyler. I won't cause you any trouble. You can be sure of that." Hearing this, Olivia felt even more agitated. "Whatever you want," she said curtly, then went into her study. I watched her leave, a self-mocking smile on my face. I originally wanted to leave this villa as soon as possible, for my own dignity. Leaving on my own terms was different from being kicked out, but since Olivia insisted I stay, I would endure the last month, even if it meant more humiliation. After all, I'd taken her $5 million life-saving money. The next morning, I got a call from Emily. "Leon, big trouble." Her voice was urgent. My heart sank. "What's wrong, Sister Emily?" "Someone in the industry has put out a blacklist order on you." My face went pale. My first thought was Olivia. The Olivia family was an old, powerful clan in the city, with assets approaching 100 billion and extensive connections. Only they had the power to do this. I thought she had just kicked me out of the legend of the imperial consort. I didn't expect her to go this far, to completely destroy my career. Couldn't breathe. My face turned red. My fists clenched so hard my nails dug into my palms. Between the anger, the despair, and my low blood sugar, I felt dizzy. I hadn't eaten breakfast, couldn't hold on. The world spun and I collapsed. Thud. The sound shocked Olivia awake in her bedroom. She rushed out, her face pale. "Leon." She helped me up. I pushed her hand away, struggling to get up on my own, my face ashen. "I'll take you to the hospital." She grabbed her bag. "Am I just a monkey to you, Olivia?" I shouted. Olivia froze, staring at me in confusion. At that moment, my eyes were filled with anger and resentment. Olivia had never seen me like this. In her memory, I was always gentle and polite. I had never lost my temper in front of her. I always respectfully called her President Olivia. Sometimes, she could even see admiration and gratitude in my eyes. But now, I had called her by her name, and my gaze was filled with a sense of humiliation that was utterly foreign to her. She didn't know what she had done to make me so angry. "From today on, I don't owe you anything, Olivia. I, Leon, owe you nothing." My eyes were red-rimmed and glistening with tears. At this moment, I felt both despair and pain. Maybe I didn't love her, but after all these years, I'd come to see her as a friend. Now I realized how cruel this world could be. I saw her as a friend, and she had just casually crushed my entire career. Without another word, I slammed the door and left. Olivia stood there, stunned. Then she frowned and sat down on the sofa. She wasn't angry. She was trying to figure out what had happened to make someone as gentle as me so desperate. Over the years, she hadn't paid attention to my life. She didn't know who my friends were, or what I did besides being a small-time actor. She realized she knew almost nothing about me, and she didn't know where to even start. Finally, she walked into my bedroom. Ever since I'd moved in, she had never entered it, out of courtesy. The one time she caught me secretly playing the piano she'd bought for Tyler, she just stood at the door and scolded me. The room was spotless. The bedding was neatly folded. Everything was organized. It was sparse but clean. Walking in, she could smell a pleasant scent, a faint, masculine fragrance. Her gaze first fell on the piano. Tyler had said he liked this piano, but at the time, Olivia was busy with a project and hadn't had time to buy it. Later, when Tyler left for further studies in a fit of pique, Olivia bought it to make up for her perceived guilt. She planned to give it to him when he returned. She treasured this piano immensely. That day, she'd come home early from work and saw me sitting at the piano, playing. She was furious. The piano was her penance, her apology to Tyler. She wanted to see him play it, to share that joy with her. But now, someone else had touched it. Felt like a desecration. She'd scolded me with unprecedented harshness. She still remembered the terror on my face, my constant apologies, my promises never to touch it again. After that, that I never did. To me, that piano had become a nightmare. The room was spotless, but the piano was dusty. After that scolding, I had been too afraid to even dust it. Olivia's gaze faltered for a moment. Had she gone too far? She knew I loved music. She'd often heard me practicing vocal exercises from my room. I just loved it. Would it have hurt to let me play? It wasn't going to break. Besides, her idealized fantasy of Tyler had faded since their first meeting at the airport. She hadn't even given him the piano. Her eyes wavered. Slowly, she looked away. Her gaze fell on a script on the desk. She was curious. She wanted to know what drama I was filming. Coincidentally, she owned a film production company. Maybe she could secretly offer me some resources. She opened the script. The Legend of the Imperial Consort. She was stunned. She remembered this project well. It was being produced by her own film company. A couple of days ago, Tyler had told her he was interested in the male lead. Olivia hadn't agreed immediately. She'd consulted the project manager and the director. Tyler was an average actor, better than those who just stared and recited numbers, but not much better. However, he was handsome and fit the male lead's image, and he had a large fan base. After some discussion, they'd cast him. She hadn't expected me to be involved with this drama too. Yong Kwan was the male third lead. She saw that I had circled the name Yong Kwan in red pen. She remembered Tyler calling her, angrily saying some unknown young actor had used connections to get the important male third lead role. He had no talent, no fame. He was just a useless actor who'd gotten the part through connections, and he'd ruin the drama. Olivia hated actors who got roles through connections. She'd invested 100 million in this drama and wanted it to be profitable. She couldn't tolerate one bad apple, but she wasn't one to just take someone's word for it. She'd called the project department to confirm, and only then did she contact Henry to replace the actor. She never imagined that the actor Tyler was talking about was me. Her expression darkened. She knew me. Besides her, I had no other connections. In all these years, I had never asked her for anything. Even if I did have connections, I wouldn't use them to get ahead. Realizing she had been deceived by Tyler, a wave of disappointment washed over her. She had always held out hope for Tyler, hoping he'd make something of himself in the entertainment industry and win her family's approval. Maybe, if he made her fall for him again, she could give him another chance. But now, he was using such dirty tactics to eliminate a supposed rival, using her hand to get me fired. It was disgusting. She felt insulted. If she hadn't seen my script today, she might have never known the truth. She called Henry. Hello? President Olivia. Henry answered cautiously. Henry, I don't know what Leon did to offend you, but firing him is one thing. Blacklisting him is uncalled for. He's a talented actor. It's a shame to destroy him like that. Olivia's voice was sharp. I said someone is blacklisting him. Who is it? He was usually calm and unflappable, even in the cutthroat world of business. But now he was angry. Henry was surprised. President Olivia, I'm sorry. Maybe I was mistaken, but you were the only one with both the motive and the power. Olivia understood. It was difficult to blacklist someone in the entertainment industry. It required powerful capital and connections. The Olivia family had that ability, and she just kicked me out of the drama, so of course he'd suspect her. She paused, her voice cold. It wasn't me, but I'll find out who's behind it. She paused. Is the role of Yong Kwan already cast? Yes, it was given to your company's actor, Do Yongza. He signed the contract yesterday afternoon. She acknowledged it and hung up. She held the phone, staring into space for a long time before coming back to her senses. At the office, Brian noticed Olivia was late. He made her tea. President Olivia, you're late today. Is everything okay? Olivia didn't like coffee. She preferred tea, especially Longjing. She was usually very disciplined and a workaholic, rarely taking time off. Being late was unusual. She instructed Brian to summon Zhao Shengli, the head of Chinka Pictures. Zhao Shengli, a middle-aged man with glasses, arrived within half an hour. President Olivia, you wanted to see me? Olivia's eyes narrowed, her gaze cold. Zhao Shengli, hasn't the company treated you well over the years? Sweat beaded on his forehead. President Olivia, I've always remembered your kindness. Is there a problem? Olivia's eyes were fixed on him. Did you personally check out the actor for the role of Yong Kwan? Zhao Shengli froze. Tyler had told him Olivia wouldn't find out. Who told you to do this? Her voice grew colder. Zhao Shengli was terrified. That bastard Tyler had ruined him. Because of work, he had some contact with Tyler and knew he was close to Olivia. He'd agreed without hesitation, never expecting Olivia to care about such a small matter. President Olivia, it wasn't me. Mr. Tyler said it was your arrangement. Zhao Shengli quickly threw Tyler under the bus. Collect your salary and don't come back tomorrow, Olivia said coldly. Zhao Shengli's face went pale. He cursed Tyler under his breath. Olivia dismissed him with a wave. After he left, she sat alone, her gaze fixed on a delicate motorcycle ornament on her desk. In college, she'd loved motorcycles, fast, cool bikes that made you feel free. When she was upset, riding one took all her worries away. Tyler had spent a lot of money to custom order a miniature motorcycle model from overseas, assembled it piece by piece, and given it to her. The gift's monetary value was insignificant, but the thought behind it was priceless. Olivia had always treasured it, keeping it on her desk where she could see it, a companion through countless days and nights. But now, looking at it, she felt a bitter ache in her heart. The bright, kind, sunny man she remembered had become someone who used underhanded tactics to destroy others. She couldn't accept the massive difference. It left her feeling hollow. She picked up her phone to call Tyler, then put it down. A few minutes later, she picked it up again and put it down again. This repeated many times before she finally finally dialed. Olivia. Tyler's voice was full of surprise. Are you free? Yes, of course. I always have time for you. Are you at the company? I'll come over now. Olivia's tone was distant. Maple Leaf Cafe. I'll wait for you there. Okay, I'll be right there. Olivia's eyes were fixed on. I returned home with my new purchases. A Focusrite Solo 3rd Gen audio interface, an Audio-Technica at 2020 microphone, and a guitar. Altogether, it cost over 10,000 yuan, almost all my savings. A craftsman must sharpen his tools if he wants to do good work. The rough recording I'd made yesterday was terrible, so I'd spent everything on a new setup. It wasn't high-end gear, but it was a definite improvement. The quality would be much better than yesterday's. I wondered how yesterday's video was doing. After setting up the equipment, I sat on the bed, curious, and opened the platform. At Maple Leaf Cafe. Olivia, this is the first time you've asked me out since I've been back. Tyler, holding a bouquet of blue enchantress flowers, smiled like a prince charming from a dream. These are your favorites. For you. Olivia glanced at him, hesitated, took the flowers, and casually placed them on the seat behind her. Thank you. Olivia, I remember you like tea, and you prefer tea houses. Why a cafe today? Tyler asked with a gentle smile. Olivia asked, do you remember the first time we went on a date? Tyler froze. That was 4 or 5 years ago. How could he remember? Olivia glanced at him. It was at a cafe just off campus. Oh, right. I remember now. Tyler was thrilled. Had she brought him here to reminisce? Was she finally ready to give him another chance? Your coffee, sir. And for you, miss. The waiter brought their drinks. This is my favorite American. Olivia, I didn't expect you to remember, Tyler said, pleasantly surprised. Olivia lowered her head, slowly adding half a spoon of sugar to her coffee, stirring it gently. The simple act was a picture of grace. She was like a celestial being, too beautiful to touch. Tyler felt a swell of pride, knowing he had once been with this woman. After this coffee, let's not contact each other anymore. Tyler froze, his eyes widening in disbelief. Why? His voice cracked. I don't like being lied to, Olivia said calmly. When did I ever lie to you? Tyler's voice was dry. Olivia looked him in the eye, her disappointment growing. You know what you did. I have an early meeting tomorrow. I need to go. She stood up to leave. Is it because of Leon? Tyler almost screamed, his voice raw with jealousy and hurt. Yes, I did it, but it's because of you. You know I love you. You know I've been waiting for you for years, but since I've been back, you've changed. That Leon is just a kept man, a stand-in. As your boyfriend, I can't stand seeing you two together, and you keep him around, even though you know I hate him. How do you think that makes me feel? I can't stand seeing him around me. I wanted him gone. What's wrong with that? I'm not wrong. You're the one who's been indecisive, giving me hope, then taking it away. The words he'd been holding back finally exploded out, regardless of the shocked stares from the other customers. Olivia, I'm asking you now. Make a choice. Me or him. You're hopeless, Olivia said, and turned to leave. I'm hopeless? I love you. I pursue you. What's wrong with that? That Leon doesn't know his place. Why should he have you even if you agreed? What about your family? Your parents? Your grandparents? Would they ever accept him? At his relentless questioning, Olivia stopped and turned her back to him. I did give you hope, but it was for the kind, sunny Tyler I remembered, not this petty, spiteful man. I thought you had ambition, that you'd make something of yourself in this industry, that even if my family opposed you, you'd have the clout to make me fight for you. But what have you done? You've gained fame, but you've become complacent. You just want to be a pretty face. Your acting hasn't improved. Your singing is still mediocre. And now, you're jealous of a small-time actor and have him blacklisted. Her expression was cold, her tone merciless. What qualifies you to be with me? And besides, Leon and I are just contract partners. We're basically roommates. We have nothing to hide. What are you even jealous of? He's been dedicated, asking for nothing. And you, who wants to be my boyfriend, can't even be grateful you want to ruin his career? Why are you so cruel? Tyler's face was ashen. Olivia turned to leave. Tyler panicked. Olivia, I was wrong. I was scared of losing you. That's why I did those things. It's because I love you so much. Please, give me one more chance. I can apologize to Leon. I can get the blacklist lifted. Olivia paused. How? You don't have the power to do that. Tyler hesitated. Olivia smiled coldly. It was Leo, wasn't it? Tyler was startled. Leo was Olivia's younger brother, and they were very close. When Olivia married me, Leo had wanted to beat me up, but Olivia had stopped him with a harsh warning. She knew Leo had been causing me trouble all these years, making my work difficult and humiliating me. Don't follow me, and don't go near Leo again, Olivia said coldly, her tone final. Olivia, you promised me 3 chances. Don't forget. Tyler's desperate shout brought back a memory from their senior year. He'd been in a motorcycle accident on a remote mountain road. He was alone, his phone was broken. Tyler had come looking for him and saved him. At the time, Olivia had been truly grateful and promised to forgive him 3 times, no matter what mistakes he made. Now, Tyler's voice was soft, pleading. Olivia, I swear I'll change. I really do love you. Please, just give me one more chance. She turned to look at him, her eyes tired. I always keep my word. 3 chances, not 1 less. But you've already used 2. 3 years ago, leaving without a word was the first. Today is the second. Tyler was overjoyed, but Olivia looked exhausted. I have things to do. You should go. She remembered that lonely, desperate night in the mountains. Tyler had given her a lifeline. She hadn't fully repaid that debt. And then there was me, gentle, kind, taking care of everything in her life for years. She couldn't just cast me aside either. Back at the office, Olivia found Brian eating lunch, listening to music. Olivia, you're back? I thought you were meeting Tyler. That was fast. Just had a coffee, Olivia said, walking toward her office. She stopped. What's that song you're listening to? Mentioning it, Brian got excited. It's an original song by an account called Riding the Wind and Breaking the Waves on the platform. It's called Divination. It's so good. It's been up since yesterday and already has almost 100,000 likes. Lots of people say it's great, but the audio quality isn't great. Olivia opened the platform and searched for the account. The caption read, I would use 3 lifetimes to atone for the misfortunes of this one life. Simple, but it made you want to click. The video was just audio with the soundtrack playing over a static image. The song had an ancient, devout quality to it. The wind blows the sand, the butterfly dances among the flowers, a timeless painting. The moon in the water, the flower in the mirror, a fleeting illusion. Olivia listened. The composition and arrangement weren't anything groundbreaking, but the melody was incredibly catchy. It was the kind of song you could hum after hearing it just a few times. After listening twice, she knew it would be a hit. Olivia, doesn't this account's voice sound familiar? And look, the floor tiles in the video look just like yours, Brian remarked. Olivia looked closely. It was true, they were identical. She realized with a jolt that it was indeed me. She knew I loved music, that I'd even sung in bars, but she didn't know I was so talented. She read the credits. Lyrics, composition, arrangement all by me. Back in her office, she found herself checking the comments instead of working. Sounds amazing. My ears are pregnant. The OP's voice is so gentle and soulful. Shame we can't see his face. This song is for those who don't appreciate the people who care about them. Olivia paused at that comment. Don't let down the people who are good to you. She thought of Tyler. But then, my image flashed through her mind. The year she'd spent with Tyler hadn't been all that memorable, except for the time he'd saved her. Most of their dates were just movies, meals, coffee. The memories were fading. She'd been busy taking over the company, and Tyler had been busy with his career. They'd spent little time together. But in the 3 years she'd lived with me, I'd never done anything particularly romantic. We'd never gone shopping, had dinner out, or watched a movie together. She'd avoided all the things couples usually do. But I'd taken care of every detail of her life, quietly, silently. It was that quiet, silent care that left the deepest mark. She felt a little ridiculous. She and I were just employer and employee. With the vast gap in our social standing, it would never happen. She shook the thought from her head and closed her phone. But a moment later, she opened it again, liked the video, and followed Riding the Wind and Breaking the Waves. At the villa, I was thrilled to see the video had over 100,000 likes and 200,000 followers. A big account had shared it and I'd gotten a huge boost. I followed them back and sent a thank you message. Seeing this, I knew I had to strike while the iron was hot. I needed to release another new song. By 8 p.m., the new song was ready. The quality was much better, but I decided to wait until the buzz from the first one died down before posting it. I stretched and went to the kitchen to make the medicinal porridge. At Olivia's office, she was going over reports. The Olivia Group's main business was food and beverages. It was the peak sales season, but sales of some of their flagship products were down. Her deputy, Zhang Shanshan, looked worried. President Olivia, the Zhang Group has been aggressive this year. They've hired big stars for endorsements, increased their advertising, and are running all kinds of promotions. We need to respond quickly, or we'll lose a lot of market share. Olivia thought for a moment. I have an idea. She discussed it with Zhang Shanshan, who nodded. I'll get on it right away. Brian came in. President Olivia, Leon is here with your porridge. He's waiting in the lobby. Olivia paused. She'd been so busy she'd almost forgotten about me. She had thought that, after the blacklist incident, I'd be upset and stop coming. Invite him up. Brian was surprised but didn't argue. I was also surprised. After 3 years, she'd never invited me into her office. As soon as I entered, she said without preamble, Tyler and the marketing manager lied to me. They didn't tell me it was you who got the role. They said it was an unknown actor who got it through connections. The blacklist order wasn't my doing. It was Tyler and Leo. I'll give you an explanation. The role of Yongquan can't be changed, but I'll get you a better role in another production. And the blacklist will be lifted. I was stunned. I'd wrongly accused her. There's no need, President Olivia. This isn't your fault. Just lifting the blacklist is enough. My agent can find me other roles. Thank you anyway. Olivia was surprised. You've only played small roles in web dramas. This could be your chance to get a lead role in a major TV drama. Are you sure you don't want it? I looked down. Of course I want a good role, but this has nothing to do with you. You don't need to make up for it. If I took something from you, my conscience wouldn't be clear. Olivia was taken aback. She was impressed. Was there really someone so kind? She sighed. Drink your porridge while it's hot. I have nothing else. I'll be going. Leon, she called out. I stopped. I'm going home too. We can go together. She usually slept at the office, but tonight she decided to go home. In the car, I reminded her, President Olivia, it's important to take your porridge on time. Olivia took a sip. The warmth spread through her, and she felt a strange sense of peace. Watching me from the corner of her eye, she felt a vague sense of familiarity. She remembered the first time she saw me, in the bar, playing guitar. It was as if it had been just a moment ago. She had known me for 3 years, and she was just now realizing she didn't know me at all. Leon, do you have a wish? She asked. I was surprised. From the rearview mirror, I saw her clear, sincere eyes. I paused. If I had a wish, I would wish for the children at the welfare home to have everything they need. If I had the means, I'd buy them school supplies. It was such a simple, kind wish. Olivia's heart ached. When they arrived home, they both went to their rooms. Olivia made a phone call. Tomorrow, go buy school supplies, a budget of 100,000 yuan. Also buy some children's clothing, all sizes, for both boys and girls, and some toys, and transfer 1 million yuan to the account of the Hope Children's Welfare Home. The next morning, Brian said, President Olivia, everything you asked for is ready. Are we going to the orphanage today? He'd seen this before. Olivia had donated to dozens of schools and visited many orphanages. Do I have anything important this morning? She asked. Not until 10. We'll go then. She finished her work quickly, and at 9:30, they set off for the Hope Children's Welfare Home. This place is really out of the way, Brian remarked as they drove to the outskirts of the city. They arrived at a small 3-story building with a tiny courtyard. The iron gate was closed. Brian explained, I looked this place up. It was founded by an elderly couple. It's semi-private. The government support is minimal. The land used to belong to them. 3 years ago, there was a big fire here. The whole place burned down. The director was badly burned and is still in the hospital. Olivia remembered the story the bar manager had told her about me being desperate for money, working 3 jobs a day. She hadn't thought much of it then. Lots of people were like that. But now, combined with the orphanage fire, it painted a different picture. Go knock, she said. Brian nodded and knocked on the iron gate. A small boy, about 11 or 12, opened the door a crack. He looked at them hesitantly. Who are you looking for? We're looking for Granny Mary, Brian said with a smile. I'll go get her. He ran off. A few minutes later, the boy returned with a silver-haired old woman, her face lined with wrinkles. A group of curious children followed behind her. Are you Director Mary? Hello, we're from the Olivia Group. This is our CEO, Olivia. We're here to donate some supplies. We hope we're not disturbing you. Hearing this, Granny Mary was very welcoming. She invited them in. Brian directed the staff to bring in the supplies. I'm sorry, we don't have any good tea, Granny Mary apologized, serving them a simple cup. Director Mary, you're too kind. We heard you and your husband founded this home together. It must be very hard work, caring for so many children, Brian said. It is, Granny Mary said with a gentle smile. These children have no parents. The hardest part is when they miss their parents. It breaks your heart. Olivia wandered around the room, looking at the photos, trophies, and awards on the walls. She was surprised to see that almost half the certificates were mine. Director Mary, Leon is quite an accomplished young man. Look at all these certificates, Olivia said, her tone curious. Oh, that boy. Granny Mary's face lit up with pride. He's the best child I've ever known. Even Brian was surprised. Olivia and Brian exchanged a look. Granny Mary, what happened 3 years ago? Olivia asked. Granny Mary sighed. A faulty wire caused a fire. It burned down the whole orphanage. My husband risked his life to save the children, one by one, but he was badly burned. When Leon found out, he dropped out of the Shanghai Theater Academy and worked 3 jobs to pay for his medical treatment. She wiped a tear. That boy always loved performing. He always said he wanted to be a big star, but he gave up his dream without hesitation to save his grandfather. Olivia was deeply moved. She hadn't known I'd been a student at the famous academy. What incredible devotion. But then, he met a kind person who lent him 5 million. He rebuilt the orphanage and paid for his grandfather's treatment. He still sends money every month. The children are doing well now, all thanks to him. Granny Mary's words were like a hammer blow to Olivia. She and Brian were both stunned by the realization. Olivia, she's talking about you, Brian said, wide-eyed. She'd always thought I was just a kept man, but in reality, I'd been working tirelessly to rebuild the orphanage. Olivia was overwhelmed. She remembered that I wasn't greedy. The money she left for me each month was mostly spent on the porridge. I had never taken more than I needed. She had been so wrong about me. President Olivia, you're Leon's benefactor. Granny Mary realized, grabbing her hand. Thank you so much. Without you, I don't know what would have happened to those children. My husband wouldn't be alive. Olivia quickly said, I helped him because he deserved it. He's worked very hard. Granny Mary sighed. He's a good boy. He was abandoned by his parents, and his foster parents mistreated him. But he's finally met some good people. Olivia was quiet for a moment. I came here today because I've seen his work. The company has decided to donate 1 million yuan to the home. If you need anything, please contact my secretary. Brian handed Granny Mary a business card. Granny Mary was overwhelmed with gratitude. After lunch, they said goodbye. Brian was reflective. I had no idea Leon was such a good person. I misjudged him. I thought he was just a freeloader. Olivia didn't respond. Her mind was elsewhere. My gentle smile appeared in her thoughts. A sharp pain stabbed her heart. He has cancer, she said softly. Brian slammed on the brakes. What? Lung cancer. Maybe only a month left, Olivia whispered. They drove on in silence, the weight of the news hanging over them. The next morning, I eagerly opened the platform. 500,000 likes. I stared in disbelief. The video had blown up overnight. I'd gained 300,000 followers, breaking the 500,000 mark. I scrolled through the comments. They were overwhelmingly positive. Recommended by Meow Meow. So good. OMG. I've been listening to this on repeat. Way better than those cheesy pop songs. Brother Yang, please release a new song. I'm already sick of this one. I saw a few familiar names big accounts who'd promoted my video. I sent them private messages to thank them. I spent the rest of the day writing new songs. Emily called. The blacklist is lifted, but the ripple effect is still there. Many companies and directors are still hesitant to work with you. If this had been yesterday, I might have been anxious. But now I was calm. My new songs were doing well, and as long as I kept posting quality content, my platform would grow. I composed, arranged, recorded, and produced until 6 p.m., completing 2 new songs. songs. I stretched. The door clicked open. Olivia stood there, wearing a floral dress that made her look graceful and breathtaking. She'd been restless all day. After work, she'd rushed home, eager to see me. Seeing me, she felt calm. She noticed my new equipment. Being in the film industry, she knew what it was. She saw the messy manuscript papers on my desk, covered in lyrics and musical notation. A guitar lay on the floor. President Olivia, you're back. I'm sorry, I'll clean this up right away, I said, a little flustered. She had a slight obsession with cleanliness, and I tried to keep my room tidy, but I'd been too tired tonight. I started cleaning frantically, but she just watched me, her expression unreadable. Have you eaten, President Olivia? I'll go cook, I said, ready to head to the kitchen. She spoke softly. Leon, there's no need to be so formal with me. Her words startled me. I went to the Hope Children's Welfare Home today. I nearly dropped the books I was carrying. I thought you might just donate supplies, but you went in person, I said. You used the money I gave you to rebuild the orphanage and to treat your grandfather, she stated. I admitted it openly. It was an emergency. That money saved the orphanage and Grandpa George. I'm sincerely grateful to you, President Olivia. I'll always do my best to repay you. Her gaze was complex. So all those years of taking care of me were just to repay a debt? I was silent for a moment. That was the truth. Maybe Olivia had become more sympathetic because she'd learned about my past at the orphanage, but that made me feel heavy. Even if she now saw me as a friend, I felt that was impossible. A bitter sense of self-mockery welled up inside me. What was I even hoping for? A friend like her? What could a nobody like me possibly offer someone like her? The aroma of cooking filled the air. Olivia sat in her study, her mind troubled. Only once before, when Tyler had left 3 years ago, had she felt this way. My words from earlier echoed in her mind. Her phone buzzed. A message from Brian. Olivia, Riding the Wind and Breaking the Waves has a new song. It's amazing. She instinctively opened the platform and found my latest video. It had been posted only 10 minutes ago. The caption seemed to speak directly to her heart. I pray to the Buddha, not for the next life, but for the chance to see you again in this one. It was similar to the last song, Divination. She pressed play. The gentle melody of an electronic keyboard filled the room, carrying a faint, wistful sadness. Then my voice came through like a wave. When the moonlight falls upon my face, I think I'm about to change. The raw, heartbreaking emotion in my voice was palpable, as if a magic potion had given me strength. The melody was captivating, the emotion intense. Olivia listened, completely absorbed. This song was even more compelling than the last. Then the chorus began. Can we meet again? I begged the Buddha for thousands of years. The lyrics were vague yet powerful. She could imagine a man kneeling before the Buddha, praying with unwavering devotion. Time passed, the seasons changed, but his hope endured. Through my voice, the emotion was perfectly conveyed. Only a true singer can move people with their heart, not just with technical skill. Can we meet? Can we meet again? I begged the heavens for thousands of years. When the lyrics reached, let me kiss your face one more time, Olivia's eyes glistened. Could someone's love be so deep? For the one they love, they would endure 1,000 years of prayer. Even crossing the bridge of helplessness, they just want to kiss their beloved's face once more. The emotion was deeply moving. A believer in platonic love, the song resonated with her. She looked through the wall, as if she could see me in the kitchen, working. Was he expressing his own emotions? Was he also hoping for a profound love? I don't know. She turned and listened to the song again. The production quality was much better this time. She opened the comments. Brother Yang's new song is a banger. OMG, this song didn't disappoint. My ears are pregnant. Haha. Brother Yang is going all in with the mystical theme, divination, and praying to Buddha. Oh, poor people rely on superstition. Rich people rely on money. Olivia smiled at the funny comments. She thought of me. Yes, I was a classic example of a poor person. Was I really hoping for love through superstition? President Olivia, dinner's ready, I called out. She closed her phone, composed herself, and went out to dinner. While eating, I asked quietly, President Olivia, will you be home tomorrow? Why? I might have to go out for a day, and I won't be back until evening. She nodded. I'm not coming back tomorrow. She didn't say anything more. In the past, she would have been indifferent to my requests for time off. But now, she found herself wondering what I was doing. After dinner, I quickly washed the dishes and went back to my room. When I saw the likes had surpassed 100,000, I almost screamed with excitement. I paced around the room several times before calming down. Meanwhile, at the Platform Music headquarters in the capital, a storm was brewing in the meeting room. Minister Chun Jiaming slammed a report on the table. Our monthly performance is down 15% compared to Penguin Music. What are we paying you people for? Deputy Minister Zhu Yun smiled helplessly. Penguin Music has been lucky. They've had some good new talents taking market share. We've had no breakthroughs. Chun Jiaming's knocks on the table were sharp. I don't want excuses. Get me 3 proposals by tomorrow morning. Meeting adjourned. Just then, an assistant, Lu Tingwan, burst in excitedly. Minister, there's an original singer on a short video platform who's going viral. Really? Everyone was shocked. Her username is Riding the Wind and Breaking the Waves. 2 of her recent original songs have become hits. They all pulled out their phones. The room filled with the melodies of divination and praying to Buddha. These are great. Much better than Penguin Music's new acts. The audio quality isn't great home recorded maybe. Equipment could be better, but no one cared. This was exactly what they'd been looking for. The video's been up for less than 3 hours and it already has over 100,000 likes. This guy is definitely going to be big. We need to must sign him before someone else does. Chen Jianming looked up. Wang Yun, you handle the contract. What level do we offer? Wang Yun asked. Platform Music used a B2S tier system. New artists usually got C tier, with only a few getting B tier. S tier was reserved for top stars, and they only had 3. Chen Jianming thought for a moment. Give him an A tier. Everyone was shocked. He has great potential. I rewatched his old videos. His earlier originals were mediocre, but these 2 new ones show a huge improvement. He hasn't posted in 3 years. He must have been working hard. He has the right attitude. He'll keep creating. An A-tier contract is a fair investment. Understood. I'll contact him right away, Wang Yun said, deciding to meet him in person. The next morning, I was about to leave when I got an unexpected call. Hello, is this Mr. Leon? Yes, this is he. Who's calling? My name is Wang Yun. I'm the Deputy Minister of Platform Music. Are you currently in the city? I was surprised. I'd only posted a few videos. How did they find me? Hello, Minister Wang. Yes, I am in the city. Great. We think you're very talented. Could we meet in person? I was about to say I was busy, but then I thought better of it. He'd come all this way. Okay, where would you like to meet? We agreed on a nearby cafe. Wang Yun arrived in less than 20 minutes. She was a striking woman in her 30s, elegantly dressed. Mr. Leon. She stared at my handsome face, clearly impressed. I didn't expect you to be so good-looking. I smiled and invited her to sit. Minister Wang, I have somewhere to be soon. Let's get straight to the point. Wang Yun was thrilled. He had both talent and good looks. He was a perfect package. She brought out 3 contracts from B to S tier. She offered the S tier contract without hesitation. He was that valuable. Mr. Leon, I'm sure you know why I'm here. Kulu Music isn't just a platform. We also have a production company. We're offering you our top-tier S-level contract. An S-tier contract was the best in the industry, usually reserved for A-list stars. Their willingness to offer it to a newcomer showed great sincerity. The signing bonus was 10 million yuan, plus a fixed share of music platform revenue. For variety shows, endorsements, and performances, the split was 30%. The contract was for 3 years. There was also an equity incentive if he became a top artist. It was tempting, especially that 10 million signing bonus. But I was still hesitant. I had other priorities. I set the contract down. Minister Wang, this is an incredible offer, but there's something I have to take care of first. I'll need to think about it. Of course, take your time. I called Emily. Sister Emily, I need you to look at something. What is it? Platform Music is offering me an S-tier contract. 10 million signing bonus. Emily almost choked. What? Are you serious? 10 million. An S-tier contract. Don't sign anything until I get there. If it's a scam, you'll be in big trouble. She hung up and rushed over with a lawyer friend. This is Tan Junjia, a lawyer I brought, Emily explained. After carefully reviewing the contract, Tan Junjia nodded. The contract is fine. Emily sighed with relief. Thank you for believing in Leon, Minister Wang. We look forward to working with you. We signed the contract, and I even submitted Grandpa George's medical records for my personal file. As they left, Emily told me, I heard your new song. It's really good. I looked at my watch. Sister Emily, I have to go. I'll treat you to dinner some other time. Do you need a ride? No, it's a bit out of the way. I'll take the bus. That afternoon, I took a bus to a cemetery on the outskirts of town, carrying a bundle of baby's breath, some snacks, and beer. I walked carefully through the cemetery to an old grave. The gravestone had a photo of a young girl, her smile as bright as the sun. I gently laid down the flowers and touched the photo, a wistful smile on my face. Qian, I'm here again. I brought your favorite flowers and snacks. You must be craving them. I remembered her small figure. I know you hate being alone. I'll stay with you all day today. I opened a can of beer. You can't drink, so I'll have this. You have the snacks. I took a sip. I've been doing well lately. Don't worry about me. I pulled out my guitar. As I played, I began to sing. When the moonlight falls upon my face, I think I'm about to change. Tears rolled down my cheeks. I couldn't continue. If I beg the heavens for a few thousand years, could I see you again? Night fell slowly. I shared everything that had happened recently, talking to her like she was right there. As the night deepened, I leaned against her gravestone and fell asleep, dreaming of her warmth. When I woke, the sun was shining. Morning, Qian. Did you sleep well? I have to go now. I'll try to come back soon. I felt a pang of sadness. I packed up my things and walked down the hill. Suddenly, a familiar voice called out, Isn't that Leon? I turned. Vivian was standing nearby with her family. She walked over quickly. Leon, what are you doing here? She looked at my swollen eyes and realized I'd been crying. Miss Vivian, what are you doing here? I quickly wiped my tears. My grandmother's grave is here. It's her death anniversary. We all came to pay our respects, she explained. She was trying to piece together why I was there. Maybe she thought I was looking for a final resting place since I was dying. This cemetery was cheaper than the ones in the city. Miss Vivian, you should go back to your family. I have to leave too, I said, not wanting to chat. She nodded, but as she watched me walk away, she felt a pang of sympathy. When I was out of sight, she called Olivia. Olivia, guess who I just saw? Who? Weren't you at the cemetery? I saw Leon. What was he doing there? Olivia's voice sharpened. He was at the cemetery, looking for a grave plot probably. He's so young and he has to do this. It's so sad. He has no money, so he's looking for a place far out of town. Vivian's voice was full of pity. Olivia, he's your contract husband, technically. You're not short on money. Why don't you help him get a better spot? Olivia felt a weight settle on her heart. So that's why he'd taken the day off. She imagined me, alone in the cemetery, and felt like she couldn't breathe. Olivia, are you still there? Vivian's voice brought her back. I'll think about it, Olivia said. He probably only has a month left. You should take him out, maybe. He's never had a vacation. If you're too busy, I can go with him. And buy him some good food, Vivian suggested. Olivia considered the advice. Brian, book a private room at Chaoyuan Hotel for lunch, she instructed. Got it. Later that day, I got a call from Wang Yun. Mr. Fong, the 10 million has been deposited into your account. Have you received it? Yes, thank you, Minister Wang. I felt a surge of relief. With this money, Grandpa George's treatment was no longer a worry. You earned it, Wang Yun said with a laugh. Do you have time this afternoon? What for? Divination and praying to Buddha are doing very well. The company wants to record studio versions for the music platform. If you have time, we can arrange it. I agreed and looked at the account balance again. The long string of numbers made me smile. I decided to go to the hospital and pay the treatment fees. At the hospital, I stood in Sophia's office doorway. Leon, haven't seen you in a while. Her tired face broke into a smile. I've got the money. Can you help me contact Dr. Johnson? Sure. She nodded. Have you had lunch yet? I asked, my heart racing. Can I take you out to dinner? It was the first time I'd ever asked a girl out. Sophia blushed. Why are you asking me out to eat all of a sudden? She noticed my embarrassment. You're blushing. Is this your first time asking a girl out? I admitted it. Sophia, thank you for everything you've done for me and Grandpa George over the years. There aren't many people who truly care about me, and you've shown me what real friendship means. Now that I have some money, I want to show my gratitude. She smiled. Of course I'll go. It's your first time asking, after all. I booked a table at Chaoyuan Hotel. I'll go see Grandpa George first, then I'll pick you up at noon, I said, smiling. At the hotel, Sophia's gaze was warm as she looked at me. Leon, did you win the lottery? What's with the fancy place? I told her about the contract. That's wonderful, she said, raising her glass. To new beginnings. Suddenly, a familiar voice interrupted. Olivia and Brian had just walked in. Brian marched over, his voice full of anger. Leon, you shameless bastard. How dare you go on a date behind Olivia's back? Sophia and I were both speechless. Brian, that's enough, Olivia said, walking over, her gaze sharp but controlled. I stood up. President Olivia, you're here too. Would you like to join us? It's just a friendly meal, Sophia added quickly, but Brian's voice dripped with sarcasm. A man and a woman alone, having dinner, and you call that nothing? I had had enough. It's a meal of gratitude. I'm thanking her for her help. Brian just rolled his eyes. I fell silent, looking at Olivia. I knew that to her, I was just a nameless face in the contract. Our worlds were separate. I wasn't going to explain. It would just be humiliating. But to my surprise, Olivia spoke. Leon, aren't you going to explain your relationship with her? I was startled. The normally cold, aloof billionaire CEO cared about my relationship with Sophia. She must have felt a territory had been invaded. I couldn't bring myself to argue. When we'd signed the contract, she'd said I could see other people as long as I was discreet. And she was openly dating Tyler. Maybe she was just protecting her pride. I was still her husband, after all, and it wasn't a good look for me to be seen with another woman. I sighed, about to explain, when a voice interrupted. Olivia, what a coincidence. You're here too. Tyler walked over, beaming. He was with several other people. I recognized them immediately. They were all key cast members from The Legend of the Imperial Consort. Olivia, I was going to invite you. It's lucky we ran into you, Tyler said. President Olivia, the others greeted her, clearly respectful. Are you having a work dinner? She asked, her tone cool. Yes, we've been working hard in this heat, so I thought I'd treat everyone to a meal. Tyler's eyes flicked to me. Olivia, you haven't eaten yet, have you? Why don't you join us? Before Olivia could respond, Lily came over, surprised. Leon, you're here too. She smiled at me, and Olivia's expression darkened. Everyone, this is Leon. He almost played Yong Kwan. He's an amazing actor. I tried to smile politely. Why don't you join us? I have something I want to discuss with you, Lily invited enthusiastically. I hesitated. I'm not sure it's a cast dinner. I don't want to intrude. Nonsense. We're all in the same industry. You'd be giving me face. Lily laughed. I looked at Sophia, and she nodded. Everyone sat down. Olivia sat on the left, with Brian and Lu Yuanyuan on her other side, preventing Tyler from sitting next to her. Tyler, sit here. Lu Yuanyuan smiled. Sorry, I forgot you were her boyfriend. I wasn't trying to get close to the boss. It's fine, Tyler said, taking the seat. I knew Olivia had invested in this production to support Tyler. It showed how much she cared for him. I kept my head down, trying not to care. Olivia looked at me, and seeing me so calm and composed, she couldn't help but feel a surge of irritation. However, an unexpected turn of events broke the silence. Sophia suddenly stood up, her face pale and cold. President Olivia, what do you mean by this? She couldn't believe that Olivia, who was Leon's wife, would openly have a boyfriend right in front of him. To her, this was a huge insult. At this moment, Sophia felt her heart ache for Leon. No wonder he was unwilling to talk about his wife. She was this unbearable. Everyone's gazes immediately turned to Sophia. She sternly questioned Olivia. You are Leon's wife. How can you flaunt an affair so blatantly in front of him? Do you have no shame? What do you take him for? Having an affair right in front of your husband? Don't you have any sense of decency? As soon as these words came out, the entire room erupted in an uproar. Olivia is married? She's married and seeing another man right in front of her husband. Those rich women really play big. Olivia looks like an untouchable ice queen, but in reality, she's passionate underneath. You really can't judge a book by its cover. I looked up in shock and glanced at Olivia. Her brows were tightly furrowed, struggling to maintain her composure. I quickly said, Sophia, don't say any more. I hadn't expected Sophia to stand up for me. I was touched, but also anxious. I didn't want the contract marriage to become public knowledge, as this was an agreement between Olivia and me. Sophia looked at me with pity. Leon, I know you're kind-hearted, but I can't stand by and watch you get bullied. She turned to Olivia and said sharply, President Olivia, I know your family has power and influence. Leon is just a helpless orphan. But since you are married, you should be faithful. Do you feel no guilt trampling on his feelings like this? If you have no feelings for him, then divorce him already. With your looks and wealth, you can have any man you want. Why do you have to bully such a kind person? I demand an explanation. The air instantly froze. The scene became so quiet you could only hear people breathing. Since it involved Olivia, the investor, no one dared to speak. Only contempt and sighs filled their hearts. Having a husband at home yet flaunting an affair in public. It was truly ridiculous. Miss, you've misunderstood Olivia, Tyler said, his face turning ugly. He knew this was about Olivia's and his own reputation, so he stood up. If rumors started flying, the internet would explode tomorrow. He could already picture the headlines. However, at that moment, Olivia said something that Tyler never expected.